the handsome liberal. Now, I did title the live stream, and I hate to even have to come with this stuff again, but apparently there's yet another day we got to talk about this. But another day, another school, I'm trying not to trigger the censors, but let's just say another mass casualty event for children at schools. Now, this one happened in Madison, Wisconsin. The actual death toll, I've heard it as high as 4, 5 if you include the gunman or the gun child in this case, because it was a child that did this. 5 if you include the shooter, and 4 if you don't. I've heard it as high as 5, 4, but I've also heard it as low as 2. So they've been kind of adjusting the numbers. But I'm going to ask flat out, because of how often this shit happens. I mean, now CNN is suggesting that there has been 83 events like this at schools. Now, you know the term. I'm trying to avoid using the term, but I think they said 83 of these has happened at schools in America this year. They're saying that's the highest number since they've kept track. So we've had more children get popped at schools, and I hate this insensitive language, but I'm trying to avoid triggering the censors. But we've had more children get popped at school this year than any other time, according to CNN, since they've taken records. You can take CNN's statement with a grain of salt, but that's what they said. Now, they got 83 of these happening this year so far, and they said 57 of them happen at schools that are K through 12, meaning the rest of them happen at colleges or universities. So I'm going to ask right off the bat, do you think we care? Because this happens a lot in America. We know it's happened before. We know for damn sure it will happen again. And every time it happens, we don't seem to do anything to prevent it from happening again. So I'm asking flat out, because it seems to be a uniquely American problem. Are there children getting popped? Like I said, for lack of a better term, are there children being popped at other schools, or better yet, schools in other nations? The answer is yes. America is not the only place children have been lost to gunfire while at school, but it's overwhelmingly happening here more than anywhere else. Uniquely American. Some might say it's so uniquely American that our record shall not be infringed. We are going to be in number 1. We're going to be in first place with children losing their lives, and that record shall not be infringed upon. So I'm asking flat out, do you believe we actually care? Liberal, Democrat, Independent, blue state, red state, liberal city, Republican city. Have you seen any true effort that we care about the fact that so many of our children go to school and they never come home? They never come home. And as I just stated earlier in the program, we know, I think we can say with an absolute amount of certainty, this will happen again. This undoubtedly will happen again. Maybe before the end of the year. Now, children get out of school for the Christmas break in a few days, but it wouldn't surprise anyone if it happened before Christmas break. Is there any notion that Americans care about children losing their lives in school? That is going to be our first topic. Obviously, what the hell can be done? Or have we simply come to accept that as a condition of sending your child to school in America for an education, getting shot is kind of part of the risk? That's just part of it. If you live in the Midwest, a snow day is possible. That's part of living in the Midwest. If you send your child to school in America, there's a risk of getting shot. That's part of the risk. Is that how we now view this? That is just simply what comes along with sending your child to school in America? Have we began to simply accept it as is? Going to talk about that. And also, want to run this one by you as well. Now, I see in the comments, Draven Castle, you're setting this up to 12? I've heard 2. I've heard 4 lives lost, 5 if you count the person that did it. But I did hear there was a lot of casualties. People who were injured, whether stampede, whether people were wounded and they had not perished yet. Someone in the comments is saying 12. 12. Really? Is it that high? Wow. Damn. I've heard 2. The last I heard, 2 children lost their lives. Someone has said as high as 12. I don't know, because this is an evolving story. People are in surgery. People are in trauma. It's an ongoing story. It's only a few hours old. But we'll talk about that. And also, on a different topic, if that begins to simply get to be too much. I mean, obviously, talking about children losing their lives has its own emotional issues with it. Biden is selling the wall. Now, I mean, I'm just going to flat out tell you what it is. Now, you know, under the Trump administration, the goal from day one was to build a wall. Now, he said Mexico was going to pay for it. Well, we can talk about that if you want. But he was indeed building a wall, buying materials, and the goal was to build a wall on the southern border. There was a lot of Democrat pushback and things like that. At the end of the day, we know only a portion of the wall was built. It certainly was not built in its entirety. And ever since Trump left the White House, the construction of the wall was halted under the Biden administration. And there's been a whole lot of material that was going to be used to build a wall that has been laying around. President Biden is selling it as scrap for pennies on the dollar. Trump addressed that in the press conference today. During the press conference today, Trump literally begged Biden to stop selling the wall, suggesting that the price that American taxpayers paid for the wall during Trump's administration, those materials have doubled, if not tripled, in price. So Biden is selling them at a very cheap, pennies on the dollar rate. And apparently people are purchasing the scrap and offering to sell it back to America at an extreme markup. This came from President Trump's mouth today, just today. So President Trump is begging Biden to stop selling the materials needed to build the wall. Why the hell is Biden doing that? And I haven't verified it other than hearing it from Trump. Everything Trump says is not necessarily true, but I believe him on this one. I actually believe him on this one. Biden is literally selling the wall as scrap for pennies on the dollar, and companies are purchasing these scraps and offering to sell it back to America at a huge markup. Why would Biden sell the wall knowing that his successor intends to continue building it? Is Biden the guy with dementia? The guy that doesn't know where he's at, can barely string together a sentence? Is Biden trolling Trump? What say you? We're going to talk about that. So we're talking about the unfortunate event of casualties in schools, and certainly Biden selling the wall, which offers a little bit of comedy to some. I don't think the right is going to find that funny at all, but offers a little bit of comic relief to what happened in Madison, Wisconsin. Those are our 2 topics today. You know how the program is ran. We are MAGA friendly. Always will be MAGA friendly. Been that way from the very start. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome on the program as well. You know how we run it. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You can be critical of anyone in the comment section, certainly of the host, Shrimp TV. Yeah! Appreciate the hat mustache. Thank you, Shrimp TV. So, looking in the comments right off the bat, how did I miss this? Says Shoot. I just found out today when Trump had a press conference, and shout out to Trump for giving a press conference that was well over an hour long. You didn't see shit like that from Biden. Say what you want about Trump compared to Biden. This is one reason I think Trump actually is so favorable to a lot of Americans. He talks to the people. Whether what he's saying is true or not, you do hear from him. An hour press conference, standing up there for an hour, taking questions, even after he, towards the end, said, I'll take a couple more. I'm like, damn, he even took about 10 more questions. Biden's never done that. Biden was never that good at doing that. Looking in the comments, it's more risky driving than going to school. Is that what? Okay, that's coming from the white man. Love the name. Talking to the white man. All right, the actual representative of the white population. He says it's more risky driving than going to school. Okay, you kind of remind me of an NTSB investigator at the site of a plane crash telling the parents of somebody who lost their child on the plane, well, actually flying is safer than driving. What relevance does that have? What are you saying? Because it's more risky to drive? We should do not. I don't know what the relevance of that is. Let me go back to before we go to the box. So we sell things for less, but we have to pay for it more. That's straight ignorance. He did it on purpose, and people are taking advantage of that, says Moonlight Ace. I do tend to agree with everything you just said. I do, but why? Why is Biden intentionally selling the wall? Let me go back to the box. We'll start out with the one and only DJ. I think that was DJ Julio. Who did I hit on? Might have been Chris, if the box brings him up. Good evening, up, Chris. Hey.
Hey, how you doing? Happy holidays.
Same to you. Good to have you on. So, children go to school and they're dismissed permanently. Why does this keep happening? Does America even give a damn?
I don't understand it. I don't understand why this stuff keeps happening and they don't learn from the mistakes that have already been made. These kids are helpless.
When you say they don't learn from the mistakes, who is represented by they?
The police, the government, the people responsible, the superintendents of the schools, the people that are in charge of the safety of the children. Why do we have to keep hearing about this?
Well, you're going to hear about it. You're going to keep hearing about it as long as it happens. Let's say you're nominated, where you have the ability to at least submit a report on how you think this might be solved. What would be on the report coming from you in regards to how to solve this? Because you're right, it keeps happening.
They need to do more protection of the schools. They need to have more people there, police, whatever state they might be in, sheriffs, police. They need to have somebody there to take care of the situation.
Well, most schools...
Security guards. I mean, what are we doing? We're just going to let these kids get hurt and not do anything about it and not learn from the mistakes that have already happened in the past?
Yeah.
It's just going to continue on and on and on. And I don't see a larger police presence. I don't see anything happening in that aspect.
Well, and I can tell you why. Probably because cost. Every time you talk about doing something, the first thing come out of most of Americans' mouths is who's going to pay for it. Fact is, over 99% of American schools will not have anything like this happen. So if you flood every school in America with, as you say, police or sheriff or security guards who are all getting salaries, it's the cost. It's the cost is why they're not doing it.
Yeah, 100% the cost is not doing it. But why are the school taxes going up so high?
I don't know.
Why are we paying for something that we're not getting if it's required or if it's necessary in this time of day? Right now, in this day and age, we need it.
But why is this happening? But why isn't this happening around the world, though? Most countries you go to, even in first world countries, they don't have armed guards at their schools. Why is that necessary only here?
I don't know, because I don't know. But if it's becoming necessary here, and people are seeing that, we need to protect our children. We need to protect the kids. That's the bottom line. It doesn't matter how we do it. We just have to do it. We have to protect the kids that are in the schools.
Well, I think the issue is though we have had events like Parkland, Florida, Uvalde, Texas, where armed presence was at the school and it still didn't save them. I mean, you feel confident that an armed guard, cop, sheriff, you feel confident that that would stop this, or do you? Because some might say that okay, you put a firearm in a school in the hands of the authorities, they're likely going to act, but it's after people are getting hit.
That's a good point. I'm not sure what the answer is. You know, that's the problem. I think that's the problem that we're all running into is what is the answer? In states that you can carry a pew pew, you know, is that something that
Every state.
needs to,
Wait, you can carry a pew pew in every state.
you can carry one, yes, but is everybody actually doing that?
What do you want to? You want to force the citizens to carry?
Well, do you think that there would be less crime if everybody carried?
Hell no, because some people are not. They're not mature enough for that responsibility. You can't just hand
No,
firearms
no,
out to everybody.
I'm
No.
not. I'm saying people that can, not everybody.
If you want to carry as an adult, unless you've got some serious criminal record or some very deep entailed mental history, you can carry now. There's nothing stopping you. There's very few places in America where you cannot carry a firearm as a citizen.
Okay, I understand that.
So is it something we just throw our hands up in the air and say there's nothing we can do about it?
I don't think that's the answer. No.
What about the liberal recommendation of tougher gun laws? We've tried looser gun laws in America. We've made it easier and easier and easier to carry a firearm, and the amount of people getting hit is going up. What about tougher laws?
I I see it from both ways. I see it from both ways. I don't know if that's going to make a difference either way. I think there needs to be a structure. If we're talking about just schools, I think there needs to be a structure on a tactic or a way or something. Like, you know how the kids do fire drills?
Yeah.
They know exactly what to do.
They're doing that on shooting drills. They actually do have them. What classroom to run in, where to hide. They're doing that now too.
Yes, but do they have it for the people that are supposed to be protecting as well, not just the children?
So what do you want? You want an officer to run in with the AR in his hand to show that to take position? I don't get what you mean. And thank you for the sub there, Cat20. Appreciate that sub. Thank you. So what are you saying? You want the armed personnel as well to do drills, maybe run through classrooms?
The lockdown drills should just be more. Do they know what? Does everybody that a police, a sheriff, ESU, whoever's going to come and respond, troopers, whomever it may be, are they well equipped and trained enough to deal with a school shooting? Are they getting enough training on the situation?
They do train on it. They've changed their training. For instance, go in even if you're alone as a cop. The problem is, like I said before in the conversation, the likelihood of you dealing with this as an officer or even as a school is so low. The training is going to be minimal. You're not going to have cops every year training to deal with school events, because whole towns rarely have this. It's only happening at a school here, then there's one there, but obviously there's thousands of schools in America, so it can happen quite often, but maybe never happen in your area.
And then, like, I'm just reading the comments also, somebody brought up mental health. That's another big thing. Why are we not looking at the psychologists and the psychiatrists within the school and helping them, even if they're young kids. These are young kids. These are in their 20s, young 20s, mid 20s that are doing these shootings as well. So maybe if we bulked up on the psychiatry of it and the mental health behind it for the kids that are not yet there to perform such a horrible act, that maybe that would help.
Could be, but I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Who's going to pay for it keeps coming up. So you're putting a bunch of psychiatrists in schools and things like that. The American public barely want to pay for textbooks and laptops and things the kids actually use every day. You're talking about armed personnel and you're talking about psychiatrists that they're rarely going to need. You're going to get a lot of pushback.
Yeah. You get pushed back with everything, right?
Right.
Everything gets pushed back.
So you'd be okay with increasing your taxes to cover cops at every school? Probably would need more than one. Certainly with some of the bigger inner city schools, one cop, if he's on the third floor and this is happening on the first floor out on the football field, he could be 100 yards away from it. So certainly you're probably going to need more than one in many schools.
Well, if it's a matter of getting there in time, if they're already there, then that would help, even if it was one or two. It's better than having none and then getting there and seeing the tragic loss.
Fair enough. But you do believe the gun laws should stay the way they are. Shall not be infringed.
The only thing that I have a problem with the gun laws, I think everybody should be able to carry Second Amendment. I'm all for that. The only thing that I think that should be a limitation on is the amount of bullets that people are allowed to purchase.
Really?
It's a different subject.
Yeah, that's definitely
different subject. But I think that the amount of bullets, you shouldn't be able to just buy 1,000 rounds because you want to.
That sounds like something Chris Rock once said in the stand-up act. I got to move it on, though, Chris. Thank you for coming through.
Appreciate you.
Anytime. The amount of projectiles, folks. So what do you think? Chris Rock made a joke about that once. I think many of you probably have heard that, where he stated that they should charge you $500 per bullet or something like that, and that would make you think twice. You know, I'm not going to do this. $500, it ain't worth doing that. I mean, what do you think? I don't know. I thought it was kind of comical, but let me know. Maybe he's on to something. Don't touch the Second Amendment. Now it's mental health that causes, says AI to influence. Well, I think that if it's one thing in this country, the people have made clear, despite the fact that a lot of Americans lose their lives by gunfire, I think that's the number one cause of death for kids. Maybe I'm wrong. You can let me know if I'm misquoting it. But I do believe the number one cause for children in terms of loss of life is gunfire. That's the number one cause. So I see in the comments, Mike Wilson says, no, it's not. Okay, then what number does it rank, Mike? You let me know if it's not. What is the number one cause? Mike Wilson in the comments. I do believe I've heard that it is gunfire. But if you're saying it's not, state in the comments, what is the number one cause? And I would tell you it is. First of all, I don't think you're correct, but let's say you are correct, Mike Wilson in the comments. I bet you gunfire's in the top 5. It's still a significant issue. I bet you it's in the top 5. But let me know what you're saying. Looking in the comments though, because through raise the wait a minute, you didn't type that right, James. Because through raise the a goal for it. I don't know what you're trying to say there. We need lighter gun laws, but also bake in a yearly mental health evaluation to see if you're how much lighter you want the gun laws to be. Shit. If you turn 18 and you don't have a criminal record, there's nothing stopping you from getting a firearm. What else are they preventing you from doing that you want to do? We need lighter. Let me know in all of the platforms, YouTube horizontal, YouTube vertical, and TikTok. We're on all 3. Let me know when you said we need lighter. In other words, the laws we have now are too tough. What else do you need? As I stated before, if you're an American and you want to carry a firearm, as long as you don't have a criminal record or a significant history of mental health, there's nothing stopping you from carrying. Perhaps you want to lower the age below 18 or 21 or whatever it is. Perhaps you want to make it so that mental health does not restrict you at all. What else? If you want to lighten it, what else are you trying to remove? It's pretty easy to get a firearm now. Wow. Look at it. Lighter laws. I can't believe that. You said somebody said he said tighter. Okay, tighter laws. All right, I thought he said lighter. I'm thinking like, damn. All right, so we need tighter laws. Okay, that's different because I'm like, it's pretty fucking light already. Looking in the comments, please repent for your sinful lifestyle. You can repent all you want. That ain't gonna stop what we're talking about, though. After every loss of life in schools, we always say thoughts and prayers, and it happens again. So clearly, your thoughts and prayers are not being answered on this stuff. It's not going to end from that. Let me go back to the box, continuing on. Blunt, 1969. Good evening. Welcome to the program, Blunt. Repentance stops nothing. Yeah, I agree with you, Ebony. Repentance stops nothing. It ain't going to stop this. I don't know what just happened with the box. We'll try it again. Repent. You can pray, you can repent, you can do all of that. Clearly, thousands, if not millions of people all over the world is probably praying for all the children that lose their lives in schools in America. And it keeps happening. So thoughts and prayers are not going to stop this. Aaron, do you think authoritarian government should be able to destroy free democracies? Having a conversation between each other. I grew up in New York and just assumed that everywhere in the country has similar gun laws. We have a very high population, but they live to fight another day, says Nikki Snyder. No, everybody, certainly the gun laws of New York, there is a few restrictions. I mean, you can't bring a gun into court and things like that. But no, you get out in other states, the gun laws become far, far more relaxed. You got people that have actually passed laws that allow you to bring a gun into bars and shit like that. People are getting wasted in bars. People have fought to allow themselves to be allowed to bring a gun into a bar. So it's gotten pretty damn relaxed. Let me try it again. We'll continue on. Dean Withers Group. Good evening. Welcome to the program.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Do we give a damn about this at all? Madison, Wisconsin now. At least 2 children. Some have said as high as 12. The number's all over the place. Do we give a damn?
Yeah, I think this is an interesting case because more and more we see that the people that are carrying out these acts, I mean, I don't know if you saw this. This is breaking just recently. The police came out. They refused to answer on it. They discovered the person's account. It's come to fruition that the shooter is in fact a transgender. He's gender confused.
Okay, but you said we care. Hold on. You said we care. Give me an example of how you believe we care.
Yeah, I think that if we see a trend of mentally gender confused people carrying out acts of militant violence against targeted groups of people, this is something we should take note of. We should take it seriously.
Where is it? I'm not hearing the care part. Tell me what we have done to show we care. I get that you have an issue with transgender. I think you're kind of illustrating that, but show me where we have done something that backs up your statement that we care.
Oh, we, as in like a society in America? No one cares about that. I personally care, but when it comes
you just wanted to bash the transgender community.
The systems of power.
Your goal was to attempt to bash the trans. That's all you were coming through to say, was it not?
I mean, it is relevant, right? Is it not relevant? If it was, when it's a white guy, it's certainly relevant. But when it's a transgender, it's like,
But that's a good point. Let me ask you, out of all of these things, and there's got to be probably damn near 1,000 of them, how many of them do you think were committed by transgender students versus white kids?
What was the last Christian school to get shot up?
You didn't answer my question, though. You're going to point to the Christian school in Nashville was a transgender student. But I'm asking you, out of all of these that have happened, hang on. Out of all of these that have happened, how many have been committed by students that were had gender identity issues versus a straight white student?
Seems like a lot of them recently. It's like
Give me an estimate. Give me an estimate of transgender versus white kids.
For the recent notable.
I say recent. I didn't say nothing about recent. I said, let's say since the Columbine in 1999. How many been transgender?
Just shootings in America?
I'm talking about kids going to school and not coming home due to gunfire.
Yeah, a lot of that's like black people at football games, black people at homecomings. Like, there's just gun violence in those communities. They're
Okay.
cooked. I mean,
what about the white kids? The white kids ain't really doing none of this, huh?
I mean, it happens, but when it does, it's like national news. Like, you see it in Christchurch, New Zealand. That's a national news story. You see it in Boston, or, Buffalo, New York, national news story. Columbine, national
You said
news.
Christchurch, New Zealand. You went to go all the way to New Zealand to find a white kid that shoot somebody in schools?
I'm just talking about when it happens. It's notable, and it's national news. I can point out almost every single time it happened. Buffalo, New York, Columbine, the Joker movie in Colorado, and Christchurch, New Zealand.
You can kind of count out how many times a white kid really did this in school. It ain't been that much.
Like, I can use both hands, and that's pretty much like about it. You got who's that? The kid who shot the football player in Michigan, the little kid with the SIG. I forget his name, but it's not that many.
Not that many. All right. So it's mostly.
But like when you look at the gun crimes and the gun violence, like how many black schools just like at the football game they're having a homecoming event or at the Independence Pride Day, it's countless more. The media just doesn't pick it up. Or you look at the Super Bowl parade. It's just when it's not a white person, no one cares.
And it's a bunch of transgender doing this too.
Oh yeah, totally. Like look at the last few events. I mean, it happened in Florida. It happened in.
All right. I remember
it is laughable, but when it's a white person, it's a white nationalist. This is an extreme problem. But when 0.02% of the global population are committing countless national notable terror events on a particular group of people in America, like I think this is something that
who was represented by the 0.02% of the population?
That's the transgenders, the gender confused.
Okay,
like, so the global population, how many people do you think are gender confused? Identifies that. It's way less than 1%.
Right. And you saying that they're committing acts of terror?
Yeah. When you're targeting white Christian students because, there's a lot of hate coming from the media. Like a lot of people like to blame their problems on white Christians. Oh, I can't kill my baby, can have an abortion. It's because of white Christians.
So you don't think
blame their problems on white Christians. So when they're targeted, it's kind of obvious why they're targeted.
So you think that they're targeting white Christians? How would you feel if some of the transgenders said that they're being targeted by Christians? That it's the Christians that are constantly saying that they're sinners and trying to affect their lives.
Oh, so it sounds like you're kind of towing the line for the shooter here. So it's like, are you like playing devil's advocate for the guy?
I'm asking a question. Yeah, sometimes I do that. I'm asking a question.
Yeah, no, I think that's once you come after kids, we don't really care about what you think. You come after our children, you come after our religion. You feel affected and you want to come to our schools and hurt our kids. I don't care what you think. You belong under the prison, and people who support you belong under the prison too. I'm not here to play games and empathize with the enemy. These people are obviously against everything we believe, and they want us gone. It's like, Sam Hyde said it best. They want you dead. They want your children kidnapped.
So let me ask you this, because in the comment I see on YouTube, Joseph Miller, thank you for the super chat. He says you just want someone to blame. So let me ask you this: how would you solve this if you were put in charge and you had to submit? It's like I told the last call. If you were required to submit a report and make suggestions on how to end what's happening at schools where children are going to school and not coming home, what might you suggest?
Well, yeah, you have to go into high crime areas, rid that out. And
is that the only place it's happening?
Well, if you want to focus on just protecting schools, I think we do need to increase security. We do need to ban access for people who are gender identifying. If you mentally ill, no going to the shop. Like wait. Let me make sure I get clarity. So you would ban access to firearms to, let's say, transgender, poly, and all of these folks. Oh, yeah, totally. We're already banning them from the military. I think it would be pretty much the next logical step would be banning them from owning firearms on the homeland. So if we're not going to let them go in the desert and kill our enemy, why would we let them run around the homeland with our own people with firearms? That doesn't make much sense.
So Caitlyn Jenner cannot own a firearm?
I'd say no, absolutely not.
Why not? Why would you do that?
I mean, someone with schizophrenia, do you think they should own a firearm? Someone who is bipolar, someone.
And you think you're saying that Caitlyn Jenner is equivalent to having schizophrenia or being bipolar?
This stuff, you don't really talk about this on this, but the DSM-4, this stuff is...
Yeah, I get it. Use a synonym. We don't. Yeah, we're about free speech here. Try to use a synonym if you will. But
yeah. Are you familiar with the DSM? This stuff has been classified that as for most of your life, most of my life. It wasn't until recently that a lot of the advocacy groups went in there and they did change the DSM-5 to even pull this off. They were all classified as, under... I don't know if you know what the DSM-5 is, but this is a list of mental illnesses. This is our government compiles a list and they put out, periodically. It's not every year. It's every.
So you see transgender people.
They were on the list for decades, and it wasn't until recently that advocates were able to pull them off. Yeah.
So you see transgender as mentally ill.
99% of humans in world history believe that. My ancestors believe that. Most of the people in the globe believe that.
Why do you believe it?
That was the scientific consensus.
Give me your explanation of why you believe somebody who's transgender is mentally ill.
Is this really some sort of out there take? There's man and there's woman. If you have some sort of sexual gratification for dressing as the other sex, that is an illness. That is not something that we should promote as reality and say you are that. It is it's called autogynephilia. These people don't believe that. They get gratified from doing that. So
you're suggesting that if a man believes hold on. So you're suggesting that if a man mentally believes he is a woman, he is therefore mentally ill and should not be able to own a firearm.
Yeah, I think if you're displaying symptoms of autogynephilia, you believe you're the opposite gender, you believe you're an opposite. Let's say I believed I was an animal. This stuff is all down the line.
Let me ask it to you this way, okay? You pose an interesting point. Let me raise it to you this way. What if I'm white and I simply believe by being white I'm instantly superior to everybody else? Am I mentally ill?
If you're saying
if I believe as a condition of simply being born white, it makes me superior to other people. Am I mentally ill?
I guess I'd have to see the reasons that they would think that, if they could, I guess if it logically tracked. I don't know. If they had I believe there's people who said that stuff and they've made decent points, and I was like, I don't believe that stuff. But it's like it logically tracks. When a person believes that they're not an animal, it's like they do not track logically at all. Like, at least if the person, I may disagree with them, but as long as they
Give me a reason. Okay, this is interesting.
A mental health expert, someone who believes that they are the superior race, like a black supremacist, I don't believe they're mentally ill now. So it's the same that a white supremacist, I don't believe they're mentally ill. Like black people say they're better than they're all the time. Like you look at Tariq Nasheed or
so if I say
I don't think they're mentally ill either. Just the same way that the freaky white people who say that they're the master race. Or
so if I say if I actually say I'm a woman, I'm mentally ill. But if I say I'm a supreme being and I'm more supreme than you are, I'm not. They could be mentally ill.
When black people say look at when you go to the park and a white guy goes and just destroys it on the basketball court. Okay. There's something to be said that wow, he went into there when black people take animosity to that, right? Because they believe that they are superior at basketball. They are superior athletes. And
basketball? Are you really in basketball?
As the NFL cornerback, Cooper DeJean goes on to the Philadelphia Steelers. He's one of the best lockdown corners in the league as a white guy. We haven't seen that in 15 years. Yeah, there is something to say about that when when a single white person hasn't been able to do it for 15 years, a white guy goes in the NFL and does it. Yeah, that's something that
you really narrowed the whole conversation about supremacy down to an athlete playing on a basketball court, really?
Kanye West believes they were the chosen people of God. Jewish people believe they were chosen by God. Is that mental illness? I don't know.
I went to a Trump rally and I had somebody tell me Trump was chosen by God. Everybody has their opinion on that.
This is why we have mental health experts that we used to put our trust in, and you would be able to distinguish between someone who's just a little out there, someone who has a view that is wrong and may not be correct, versus someone who is not rooted in reality, someone who is not
All
in their
right.
own brain. Someone whose brain composition is not right, right? There's a difference between someone who's, you would agree that there's a difference between someone who's mentally ill versus someone that just holds far out fringe beliefs that are, not accepted by
I think
mainstream
they can both
society.
be one and the same there, Dean.
How is it one and the same for me to believe, like, some sort of weird fringe idea?
I think if you believe that you are supreme simply based on your skin color, that's radical in as mentally ill as anything else you're talking about.
Well, I think it's radical, but I don't think it's mental illness because I think people are tribal, and if you think your tribe is better than the other tribes, think about it. Like I think that's kind of like an innate biological. That might just be some sort of biological protector. That's I don't. That doesn't. That kind of protects you as like your tribe is going up against a better tribe that you're facing certain.
It's
death.
a big difference though. Hold on.
But biologically, I think my tribe is better. So
you could be born in a certain tribe and actually have real advantages. I mean, if your tribe is 1,000,000 strong and mine is only 10,000, you have a reason based on fit. But if you're just born white or you're just born black, those advantages are not there.
What do you mean?
Do you believe someone could be supreme simply by being born white?
No, but you said I don't think someone could be supreme by being born in a different tribe.
Yeah, you could. Your tribe is supreme, not you as an individual.
Well, then let me ask you this. Is someone, let's say I'm born in Beverly Hills or the Hamptons versus being born in a mud hut in Africa, is that more supreme? I don't know. It's a more supreme location, then yeah.
Your examples are hilarious. Mud hut in Africa. I gotta move it on. I can talk to you for hours, man. I got other people holding on. I can talk to you for hours, but I do got other people holding on. As always, Dean, you never disappoint, man. You never disappoint.
It's like we're trying to logically track here. If it's like, well, if race have no benefits from being any race, but tribes do, that's where we disagree. I think there are benefits to being a race. Let's say if I was black in America, it'd be a lot easier for me to be on the cover of a magazine, to win Miss USA, to be a newscaster, or even be the president. Yeah.
I gotta go, Dean.
She got a free pass on the ticket. Sure, she got smoked, but the only reason she got a fucking chance to run is because she was black. That would never happen to a white person in America. White people have to actually earn it.
All right, Dean. Thanks for coming through.
Everyone knows this is true.
I gotta go. Dean. I can talk to you for hours. I gotta go. All right, Dean. And by the way, let me. Oh my God. Me and Dean talks a lot. Obviously, we don't agree on shit, but I do believe in free speech. So at the end of the day, I like to speak to folks and hear their opinion. You don't have to agree with the host. I say that all the time, but I find it comical that he or anyone else would often point out, let's say Kamala Harris or what is the guy, the chick that Biden appointed to the Supreme Court, and Natasha, what is her name, Brown Jackson, whatever her name is. But people say, well, she's black. She didn't get the job for any other reason other than she's black. I point out there's a reason why every president before Obama was white. You think that's only because they had the merit? No. You knew the next president for most of America's history. You knew the next president. You knew the next Supreme Court justice. You knew the next police chief. You knew the next mayor. You knew they were all going to be white males. All of a sudden, once this DEI or giving people a job based on skin color shit started being favorable to people of color, people had a big problem about it. You think this didn't exist from day one? All of a sudden, Biden says, I'm going to appoint a black woman to the Supreme Court, or my running mate's going to be a woman of color. Or she didn't earn the position. So DEI. Who the hell you think gave Biden his take? You knew Biden wasn't going to be black when he when he became a congressman back in the 70s. You knew no black man was going to get that job. You knew no black woman or Hispanic woman was going to get that job. You knew the next version of Biden, when he came along back in the 70s, was going to be a white dude. You already knew that. So he told you, well, my next person is going to be a black woman, and now all of a sudden it's wrong. I don't understand that. America was founded on DEI hires. It literally was founded on that. Looking in the comments though, he doesn't know any black people, says Eric. Probably not. They can't run a vice president with more charisma than the president. Fair enough. Let me go back to the box though. Some white folks see equality as oppression. Yikes. You know, I've kind of, I can feel that. If I know that I'm going to apply for a job, let's say for instance, I want to be a lieutenant on the police department, and I know that I only have to compete with other black people, even though there are white people that want the job, then yeah, I mean, it is a much more advantageous position than having equality, and all of a sudden white people can apply too. I could see what shit. I liked it before when I only had to compete with black people. I could see some people having that mindset, but yeah, the notion that Kamala didn't deserve a job or the Supreme Court judge, that's how our country was founded. You look at the presidential chart, take Obama out of the picture, they're all white. You think anybody else had a chance? That doesn't matter how qualified you are. I mean, you've had people throughout history get awarded the Medal of Honor after they were dead, or get awarded some medal or promotion after they were deceased, because they wouldn't have given it to them when they were alive. You knew the next general was going to be a white man. I mean, you just knew it already. Didn't matter who was doing what on the battlefield. The only person that can get this job as an admiral or whatever is a white male. Now, all of a sudden, people of color are getting some positions. Oh, damn, this is fucked up. Really? All right, let me go back to the box. Like the guy on the phone is a little out there, says Eric. Tap the screen, by the way. I haven't asked you guys to do that. We should be around a good 20,000 by now. But tap the screen, show the program some love. Get the likes up to about 20,000, if you will. White folks have used DEI since the United States unalived the first Indian. I wish I could disagree with that. I like to be able to push back, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way the country was founded. There's no other way to explain how every position of prominence for like 200 years was white males. I mean, even the women didn't have a say-so in it. So, yeah, DEI is the way we've been operating from day one. In China, the next leader will be Chinese. Is that an issue, Handsome? Yeah. If there are other cultures and if there are other groups and they're specifically only giving them the Chinese, and we know for sure that if there's an African in China or whatever, and there's no chance in hell that they can get the job, yeah, it's an issue. It's the same shit. If that's happening in China, yeah, it's the same thing. Living in the past won't get you too far. I think that's what we always do. I don't know why. Let me go to the box, but I will say this real quick. Why is living in the past only an issue when one group of people talk about the past? I mean, every September 11th, we'll never forget. We just honored the dead on December 7th that passed away in 1941 when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Nobody said honoring the past won't get you in. When you see a Confederate flag flying around, do you think that we need to stop honoring the past? I mean, we've been doing that in this country since we've had a past. I don't know why when racism or slavery comes, oh shit, the past needs to be left in the past. DJ Julio, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Wow, you guys got me in a mood today. I didn't expect it. We talking about kids in school, and you guys got me in a mood today. I wasn't trying to go there, but man, you guys are taking me where you need me to be. DJ Julio, good evening. DJ Julio. Apparently he stepped away. We'll move it on. I don't know what I just hit. To tap the screen, folks. Show your boys some love. Share the live if you will. User 238. Thank you. Share the live if you will. My girlfriend is native Cherokee and fucking beautiful. Shout out to you, cuz. You are your respect to black brothers. I don't quite get what you're saying there, Jacob, but it sounds good, so thank you. That story they gave us is so far from truth, it's laughable. Brian, what story are you referring to? Let me go back to the box. And I see in the comments, Lori or something like that says, we are always reminded. We are always reminded of the past in every level. Like I said, I don't know why when one group bring up the past, people, I'm tired of hearing about that. Every year we talk about, as I said, September 11th, December 7th, 1941. We talk, I mean, every year we're reminded of the past. Some of our past was evil. You can't sweep part of the, I don't want to hear about the bad past. I want to talk about the past. I want to hear how the country was founded, but I don't want to hear about the bad stuff. That's not legitimate history. That's not the way history works. You don't get to hide or sweep parts of it under the rug. All of that shit is part of our history. Facts first. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Real quick in the comments here. Do you want DEI affirmative action as the law as airline pilots qualifications doesn't matter? Hang on a second, facts matter. Do I want DEI affirmative action as the law as airline pilots qualifications doesn't matter, only race? That's kind of how the airline was founded. I mean, you kind of knew you weren't going to have a female minority as a pilot for most of the invention of the aircraft. Facts first. Good evening.
I got too much background noise, but I'm gonna have to come back.
All right, yeah, you do got something going on back there. Yeah, facts first. No, I don't want some unqualified person to get the job. No, I don't want that. When you're talking about in the airline industry or whatever. But once again, as I said, DEI has been the way this country was founded, even in the airline industry. Even in the airline industry, for most of America's history, or better yet, since the invention of the airplane, since it went commercial, you had to have a complexion to become a pilot. We've always had that. It didn't start becoming an issue, just like with everything else, until it started benefiting people of color and women. But we knew, let's say, during World War II, for instance, then you have, what was the guys with the planes with the tail that was red? The red tails or whatever they were called. Tuskegee Airmen or whatever. Despite their accomplishments during World War II, they had no opportunity to become a commercial pilot after the war was over with. Is that not DEI? I mean, they flew planes so well that they got recognized even though they were black. And the minute they came home, they had no opportunity to be. Is that not DEI? If you're going to complain that people that have the qualifications should get the job regardless of race, tell me how that's not happening there. Tell me what's the difference. Going back to the box, they are the first Top Gun winner. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, tell me how that's not, any area you give me of life, we had DEI in it. Big Trig. Let's try it out. I'm having some trouble with the box. Tap the screen. Big Trig, good evening.
Hello. Hey, what's going on, Handsome? How are you today?
Oh, man, I'm hanging around like Jesse Jackson at a Klan meeting. And so I'm asking, all of these children are going to school and not coming home. Is it starting to look like America may not care about this?
Well, I mean, this is just an example of, once again, it's only important when it happens, but once it's the effect of it draws down, then everybody tends to go on about their way. So yes, it's not important, Hanson, because if it was important, it would be something that we would fight for answers to get every day.
Wow.
So and it's sad to say it. It's sad to say it like that, but I'm just stating the facts. You know, think about it. We haven't had one since Georgia, correct? It was up on radars. It was up on radars for about a week or two strong. It was a lot of people was getting headstrong about it. We got to do something, and then it just quietly sunk back into the nevers of nothing, and no one is doing anything to bring it to the forefront until we have something like this happen again.
So then let me ask you this: is there something that could be done? Like I've asked some of the other callers, if you had to submit a report to someone in charge of what you might recommend that would curtail some of this stuff, what might you suggest?
Well, I'm going to say, personally, I would say definitely stricter gun laws. Of course, I hate to say it like that, but yes, stricter gun laws, but also mental health assessment for individuals with any historical information. We allow people to join the military right? But if they are identified as having any type of mental health things or any other issues or medical problems previously, they have to be screened separately. A waiver process has to be given if afforded, and if they can't pass that waiver process, they can't join. It's just, I mean, I don't understand why is it so hard that everybody has to believe that I got to get my gun right now. Let's make it a process.
Shall not be infringed is the issue. I mean, if you don't want it infringed upon, what you're naming, what you're talking about sounds like infringement.
Well, I understand. But what we talk about abortion is killing, right? We want people don't want that, right? So what's the difference if we're just allowing people to aimlessly come in and murder our kids in school, right? We made a conscious decision, right, to say our children are going to be here, right?
Hopefully,
while others are making a conscious decision to take them away from us on simple things like leaving our house and going to school, right? Yeah. Maybe we should look at other countries, how they do it. Maybe we should look at why they don't have the same problems as us, and maybe incorporate some of the things that they may be doing right. I'm not saying that we have to follow everybody's rule. But you know what? You're not right all the time. This world is not the greatest. We know it ain't. America is not the greatest. The problem is we choose to think we are better than everyone, right? Yeah. And the bottom line is, if you were to look at it statistically, if you were to go and get all the research, we're probably in a lot of categories at the bottom of the totem pole.
Wow.
Right? And that's the problem we have. We only care at the moment. Damn. After that, we do not care at all, because we'll let it just fall back to the wayside, and me and you will be having this conversation 6 months from now at the next time it happens again.
Wow. And the crazy thing is, I have done plenty of lives on this topic, so that's it might not even be 6 months. But it just for shits and giggles, Aaron M is pushing back on what you said about we might not be at the top of the list in any of these, in certain categories. He says America is the greatest. Name a better country, and why do you not live there? Where you don't have the right to just go live anywhere you want, but he's saying that America is the greatest.
That's the problem right there. I live in America. I should be able to criticize my country for the things they're not doing right. But here, he wants me to shut up and dribble, right? That's what he wants to happen. And that's the problem that a lot of these evangelical Christians want us to do. And I'm not saying anything about that, about Christians as far as in the negative sense. Those ones who want to push their way is right against everyone else. There's a lot of problems we have in this world, right? One of them shouldn't be worried about if my kid is going to come home from school.
I agree with that.
That just doesn't make sense, right?
So obviously,
if no one wants to do
let me ask you this way, because obviously kids getting shot in schools is not common in most of the first world countries, Europe and things like that. What are we doing different?
Well, here's the thing. That's just the answer. I can't sit there and give you the answers. That's why I say we need to go there. Find out. We need to do research on what they're doing in comparison to our thing, our way of life, what we're doing, right? Maybe take some things from it, because you can take bits and pieces. We're a melting pot, right?
Yeah.
Aren't we a melting pot?
That is true.
We come from everywhere. So why we can't take bits and pieces from everywhere to make up something that makes sense for everyone, right?
Well, it's kind of like what you were saying earlier. If we think we're the best, we don't feel like nobody's qualified to give us any tips.
And there's the problem. Therein lies the problem. We're better than everything, so no one can tell us nothing. Look at your caller that came on previously. He went from the topic that you were discussing, right, about school shootings. And it became, whether you choose to see it or not, I'm not sure, it became a black issue.
Yeah.
It became a black issue with...
Well, don't forget the trans. He started out in the trans first, though.
Oh, yeah, well, you're exactly right. He came through the door saying, didn't you hear that they just released this, that it was a trans shooter?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, what about the young white boys who's been doing it previously? They have history of mental illness, right? but they just don't have that trans piece to go with it. But now you got the trans guy doing it. It became the topic instead of a discussion of mental illness. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The problem, we can go through this thing all day. No one cares until it happens again.
I don't totally disagree with that, and it will, as we both know, happen again. But before I move it on from you, I want to ask you this. This is a secondary topic. Biden is selling a wall. Apparently, obviously the wall didn't get built under Trump, and much of the materials are just laying around down there in southern Texas and probably in Arizona as well. Biden is selling that material for scrap for pennies on a dollar. Trump is begging him to stop, stating that material to buy back costs 2 to 3 times as much, and that people who have bought the material is trying to sell it back to the U.S. government for a huge markup. Why is Biden selling a wall?
No, he's throwing darts. On my way out the door, hey, I'm going to throw a grenade in the room and walk out the door, right?
Wow. So he's trolling.
And here's the thing. Is in the words of any normal red-blooded, he being petty. Right?
I tell you, he's trolling. In other words, he's trolling.
Exactly. The thing about it is this, right? We act like we have to be against each other in order for us to be successful. I have to put you down in order for me to come up.
There is plenty of that.
I have to leave the door shut in your face in order for me to walk through. That's the problem that we have right now. These people don't want. I believe it or not, I did not want Donald Trump to win, but he won. He's the president. If he fails, we all fail.
True.
Right?
That's true.
If people can't see that now, do we challenge him every step of the way when he's making mistakes? Yes, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But we don't deliberately throw landmines on the road to make it harder and harder. If he's going to trip and fall, let him trip and fall.
Now, let's be clear. Let's be clear. Trump would never have done nothing like this to Biden, right?
No, I'm not going to say that because believe me, petty is petty.
Yeah.
And I think it goes both ways. And here's the thing. My thought process on it all is you want to have the best for Americans. We can already see that in Trump's decision-making process right now and appointing individuals to key positions, he doesn't take the whole everybody inclusive attitude. He's trying to make it what's right for him. And because there are a lot of people that he could be bringing in to unify this America when he comes into power. Now, no matter what happens, Biden cannot, Kamala Harris cannot throw landmines on the road and say walk gingerly. If he's going to stumble and fall, believe me, he has enough in his own self where he can stumble and fall on. If we're trying to make him stumble and fall, then guess what? We're doomed. We're doomed as a country. We're doomed as a society. We're doomed when it comes to race relations in America because it's going to only get worse because people are going to still continue to point the finger. I don't want the man to fail. I don't want the man to succeed at my expense, but I don't want him to fail. All right? Because if he fails, America fails.
I liked how that ended. I appreciate you coming through, Big Trig. I agree with you. We shouldn't be wishing for the leadership to fail, regardless of what side that leadership is on. Big Trig?
Exactly.
Thank you.
You have a wonderful day.
Same. Moving on with the program, and I see in the comments, Arlita says, I agree with that caller. So do I. I think we should. Now, I don't personally, maybe I'm wrong. Feel free to criticize me if you will. I don't personally believe Trump was wishing for the success of Biden, or Obama for that matter. But I don't think that following in their footsteps, if Biden is doing this as a method of trolling, I don't favor it either. I'm sure there's a good reason for selling at mass. I heard some of it fell over anyway. Well, you know Trump intends to build a wall, so why sell the materials that he put in place originally to do it? Those materials have been laying there on the ground since Biden became president. Biden stopped the building of the wall, and the materials were there purchased by the Trump administration. Our tax dollars, but they were purchased by the Trump administration. So he's already made it clear he intends to finish the project. Why would you sell his shit? I mean, you know he has that there. Why would you sell it off? Wow. Look at it in the comments, though. Get a battery for your smoke. Oh, you talking about somebody in the comments. Biden pardoned his kid also. They both being great fathers. It's that instance. I don't get what you're saying. You're talking about Biden pardoning his kid. You know, I don't know why that's such an issue. You really think Trump wouldn't have pardoned his child or daughter? Really? Now, you want to talk about Biden, whether he's a good father or not. Is it relative? I remember when Trump took office and people started bringing up how bad of a husband he's been in the past. Well, I don't care what he did before he became president. But now you're going to talk about Biden as a dad? We can go a million directions with that. I'm good with Biden pardoning his son, says yeah, who would leave their own damn kid out there? Nobody's going to do that. If Hunter Biden took someone's life, or if he, took the innocence of a child, I could understand a dad saying, I don't give a damn who you are. I'm letting your ass rot. Biden got paid. If the Burisma shit is correct about the Ukraine and the laptop, he got paid. The other shit is even lesser. Cheating on your taxes and paying back the IRS and having a firearm for 11 days and doing nothing wrong with it. You gonna let him sit in jail for years for that if that's your kid? One of the things we talked about when Trump got caught up with the 34 felonies or whatever it is, or the Letitia James case where he owes like $400 million or whatever, folks suggested this is bullshit, this is a witch hunt, because there are no victims. It's a victimless crime that Trump is being charged. Who are the victims in Hunter Biden's case? There's no victims in lying on a gun application and keeping a gun for 11 days and giving it back, or not paying your taxes, and then when they catch up with you, you pay the taxes plus a penalty plus interest. Just like Trump allegedly made the banks whole plus interest, Hunter Biden did the same with the IRS. You gonna let him go to jail for that if you're his dad? That doesn't make any sense. And I'll submit to you what I stated when Biden was going around saying he wasn't gonna pardon his kid. I said it was a lie then. I knew it was a lie when he said it. We talked about it on the show. I knew it was a lie then. I had like one or two callers said, yeah, if my son did wrong, I would let him go to prison for that. Everybody else knew that shit was a lie. Let me look in the comments and tap the screen. Maybe we can get up to 20, 25,000. Thank you, user, for sharing the lie. Then just pardon him first, not 10 years. Well, most likely, 10% to the big guy and some of that shit on the laptop is probably true. Probably true. But after seeing how the Republicans acted in regards to the gun lying on the gun application, it's safe to assume if Hunter Biden did something else, they're going to go digging through his past and find it. So he pardoned his kid for 10 years because there's probably more shit out there that Hunter Biden did. Like I said, if he took the innocence of a child or took somebody's life, he should, even if he's my kid, look, you fucked up. But if they're going to go back in your history and find out that you didn't pay taxes on something and they're going to get you for that, no. Yeah, then I would pardon him for 10 years. And my guess is President Biden knows the true nature of what his kid has done and knows that the Republican Party, if he doesn't give him a 10-year pardon, is going to go back in his past and find it. So he's covering it. Continue. I don't think he would have done it if Trump hadn't won. I think he would have. A lot of people said that if Kamala Harris had won, Biden would not have pardoned his son. I still don't. He probably would not have given him a 10-year pardon, but I think for the stuff that he's due to be sentenced for, he was due to be sentenced for in late November, I think he would have pardoned him for that anyway. Let me go back to the box. Because let's say Kamala Harris wins, he was due to be sentenced before she would have been inaugurated. So he still could have served at least a month or two in prison. I don't think President Biden was going to let that happen. I think Biden's going to pardon him no matter what. Going back to the box, go to another one of my subs. Stick Darula. Good evening, Stick. Pardon is not anything specific. Yeah, that's what he gave him, a blanket pardon pretty much. Stick, good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Tim?
I'm in the trenches as usual. Children getting wasted at schools. Do we give a damn about this at all?
I would say it's a lot of us that do, and I would say the majority don't.
What are the people that you said a lot of us that do? What are the people that do? What are they doing to give you that belief?
Well, I mean, they're asking for pew reform. They're asking for better background checks and better vetting before giving, mental issues. And I mean, it's a couple of different things that people that care are willing to do. But it's the point of with some rights, when it comes to the right, I'm not going to put MAGA, I'm not going to put Republican on. I'm just going to say the right as a whole. When it comes to owning a pew, they said they don't want it to be infringed.
Right.
So at the end of the day, they don't care how many people lose their lives as long as they still have the right to carry their pew. And that's the Christian thing.
So you believe the 2A people do not care about children losing their lives at school?
Oh, not at all. Because if they did, they would have been done something about it. If the NRA would have been, they're the main ones pushing agendas and doing their thing when it comes to firearms. Even though, again, we already have that right once you get to a certain age,
right?
And or whatever. But they're not. They want more people to buy. They don't want less people to buy. They want more people to buy. They want to sell you the newest stuff. They want to get rid of the Glock 19 and say the Glock 25, the Glock 29. This is where we're at.
How do you respond to people who might suggest if you ban firearms, people will find another way and kids will just be getting blown up or stabbed in schools?
I would say, well, then you gotta try to do better when it comes down to knives.
What, you gonna ban knives?
I'm saying not banning. They shouldn't be in school unless the school cook needs a knife. Nobody else should need one.
I don't know. You getting pretty. That's crazy. Okay.
Not banning knives. I'm not talking about banning knives as you can't go to Walmart and buy you a knife set. I'm talking about banning knives, making sure the kids in school don't let. Okay, we don't have any pew-pews. Now the next thing, like you said, is swords and knives. Well, they don't belong in school either.
I could take this pen and a broomstick and some masking tape, put this around the end of the broomstick, and now I got basically a stabbing tool. I mean, where does it end?
Well, the whole thing of it is, Tim, we're not in prison. We're not making shanks and shivs and stuff like that. We shouldn't be teaching our kids how to make shanks and shivs. So, again, our kids and us as parents and Americans, we don't make any of the weapons in the sense of, but
making something to poke with is, I think, even a second grader could easily fashion a shank. I mean, that ain't hard to do.
Yeah, it's primitive. So, but again, the whole point I'm trying to make is, if they were to get rid of the pew-pews, okay, the next thing should be, now we're going to make sure, and we're going to check backpacks to make sure they still don't have any metal in them, in the sense of a butcher knife. Nobody needs to come to the school and act like Michael Myers or Jason.
Here's what help me out with this. Now, we know about firearms in America and in schools, but in terms of knives and bombs, is there any other school in the free world? Is there any other nation in the free world, rather, where children regularly are the victims of stabbings or bombings while in school?
The only place I know is the Middle East, where they're fighting at.
Yeah, it's a war zone. It ain't some kid that goes to school and blows up his classmates. It's a war zone.
Exactly. So that's my point. That's why it's called Chirac. Tim, you from that way.
Yeah.
You know why they call it Chirac, because the stuff that are happening in war zones is happening, used to. I'm not saying it's still happening now, but it definitely used to happen in Chicago. It used to happen in New York. LA was known for the Bloods and the Crips and the gangs and the blah blah blah. So I mean, Little Rock, Arkansas. I mean, everybody had their period to where they went through either a lot of gun violence or just mass unalivings from people just not on their rocker or affiliated with a gang. Let's be honest. It was one of the two in my day.
Yeah.
You just wasn't on your rocker, or you was affiliated with somebody, and that's why you unalive somebody.
So what is it now? A bunch of crazy people?
Right now, it's a bunch of emboldened people because of the president-elect. I'm going to give it to him just like they give it to Joe Biden. They want to put Joe Biden lied. He said.
Wait. You're blaming school casualties on Trump?
I'm blaming school casualties on the rhetoric that was pitched out, whether it be from Trump or whether it be from his supporters.
What rhetoric are you talking? Give me some examples.
Okay. Well, we just talked about 2A, and they don't believe in anybody messing with it. And if you do, you're the enemy of the state, or enemy of this country, because you want to take away their pew-pews. But you're so worried about your one right to own a pew-pew that you won't even realize that more kids are being lost because you just won't make the gun laws tighter. That's just a simple fact.
In regards to making the gun laws tighter, what would you suggest needs to be done? Tighter how?
Definitely a background check.
That's okay.
I say that if you're gonna have a personal owner sell his pew-pew, I would say he, as a personal owner, needs to, within 24 hours after selling, needs to basically report who he sold it to.
So you do want the government to have to keep track of who owns firearms?
Why not? They keep track of everything else. What you Google, they keep track of everything else.
I'm just asking, because that's one of the points of contention with the 2A people. If they don't believe the government, you should have to register, or they don't believe the government should know what you own.
Well, the whole thing with that is if we're doing that, then you're setting yourself up for the purge. You're setting yourself up for a real live purge.
How so? Explain that. How so?
Because you have a whole bunch of people and you don't know their intentions of what they're doing with their pew-pews. Like, you have collectors, you have people that live in rural areas that get certain weapons to go hunting and different things like that. All of that, that's nothing wrong. But when you're living in a compound and you're part of some group and you own all these weapons, assault style weapons, yeah, that needs to be known.
Now, see the comments. Not against says Republican kids are doing this more than any other kids. Why is that? Do you believe that?
I really do. I believe the privileged kids are the ones that's going out there doing it. I mean, let's keep it honest.
I don't know about that.
No. Let's keep it honest. If there's a school shooting in a school that involves a black child, 9 times out of 10, it's a handgun. Okay. If there's a school shooting, 9 times out of 10, if it's a white child, there is an automatic involved that carries big
carbine
3s and 5.56 cartridges. So these are very, very, very high-powered rounds. And
maybe white people like to be a little bit more efficient with their work than we do.
Yeah, efficient, more killing.
Yeah. I'm just joking. But yeah,
I'm just being. You joking, but it's true. It's more killing. They're efficient killers out there, and these young kids with these high power rifles, which don't need it, they're getting them for their birthday. Their parents is going and buying them now. They're on trial for negligent or whatever they go on trial for now, because they bought their child a pew-pew. And again, these are rural areas in most cases, but the parents seem to have some type of money, even though they say they don't.
I don't know if I agree with any of this. I'm gonna tell you, you know, the only difference between black and white I've seen in regards to school on a lot, because one of my guests earlier, when people were saying he sounded like he was intolerant or bigoted, one of the things he brought up is that there are a lot of shootings. And you mentioned Chicago, a lot of shootings in black schools, like in a football game. That's true, like basketball and outdoor. There's a lot of shootings in black schools. I think the only difference between black and white shootings is generally when minorities commit an act like this, it's against a rival gang member, it's against a rival drug dealer, it's against somebody they got beef with. And they either hit the person they got beef with, or sometimes they send a volley of shots and they hit a bunch of innocent people. But they are aiming at somebody they got beef with. I think the only difference between black and white is whites, when it comes to school events like this, they're more likely to go and just try to take out a bunch of innocent people they have no beef with at all. That's an area where people of color don't generally do. Even though they may be a terrible shot, they may hit a lot of innocent victims, which is wrong, and I'm not making any damn excuse for it, but they are trying to take out somebody that they could perceive to be an enemy. Whereas the whites are just, I'm just going to go to school and take out as many people as I can and go here.
Yeah, and I agree. And so again, they do it with these high-powered rifles. I mean, because again, when you're affiliated in the sense of you're with a gang or something like that, then you may have an opportunity to have a high-powered weapon. But in most cases, you got a regular handgun, shotgun, something like that.
Yeah, but that ain't saying nothing. The Virginia Tech shooter had 2 Glocks, handguns, and he took out like 30-something people. That ain't really saying them in a closed environment.
And the Virginia Tech guy was Asian, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So again, he's not one of us. But the whole
oh my God, keep going.
The whole point I'm trying to make is he did critical thinking on how to take out as many people as he could with what he had. Mm-hmm. But we don't tend to do that. We don't tend to go in places and just start firing off like you just said.
Yeah.
Black folks don't tend to do that. We definitely sometimes get out of character and do some dumb stuff, and it's a lot of guys out there that do it. But you know what I've realized, as well as on the street, some of these rich guys are doing the same junk. And I'm talking about in the black community. I'm talking about like these Young Dirks and King Vons and all of these. Yeah, they now they're rich and they're still getting into trouble.
Yeah, but they're not trying to take out a bunch of innocent people.
Not innocent. Okay. I'm not saying that. Yeah. I'm not giving them the level of a school shooter, but I am saying you got all of this money, my man. You just had a song where you were saying all your life, this, that, that, and the third, but you showing us, even though you rich, you still continue doing this all your damn life.
Well, you know what they say, you can take the Negro out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the Negro. I got to move on, no stick. And that's what that is when the rap community still can't. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be true to who I am. Damn it, you're a millionaire. Why the hell you hanging around these broke motherfuckers? I never understood it, but I know what you're talking about. Stick.
Last word, Tim. I heard you, like I said, I heard you talking about Biden. I from day one, I didn't really give a damn if he lied to me or not. I wanted his son free for my own wishes. That was my own wish. So I'm glad that he's pardoned. I'm glad that they can't come after him, and I hope he give out as many pardons that he needs to the people that he's gonna go after. Because they ain't did shit to Trump, but other than say I don't like the guy.
I disagree with one of them, but I'll talk about it on the other side. Thank you for coming through, Sid. Appreciate it. Now, you said to people that Trump's enemies list, Biden should pardon it, and he's stating that because none of them have done anything to Trump other than maybe criticizing him. I disagree with one person. General Milley is a legitimate candidate. I think that, he thought what he was doing was right, which was contacting his Chinese counterpart and letting the Chinese know we're not going to, if Trump gives us a crazy order, we're not going to take it. You don't have to, that's going outside the chain of command. So I do believe General Milley, if Trump goes after him, people won't like it. Hell, I might not like it depending on how it goes down because he is a well-liked serviceman. But what he did was a criminal. What do I want to say? He could be court-martialed for it. It is an offense. It is a military offense. You can't just reach out and contact the people in China and not tell the president that you did that. What he did was criminal. And I think Steve Bannon, he talked about all of the people that if Trump won, this is before the election, he would go after. He mentioned Comey. He mentioned Fauci. He definitely mentioned Milley. I think he even hinted Petraeus was in there. I don't know what the hell General Petraeus did, but he mentioned Milley for sure. Jim Comey. He talked about, obviously, Jack Smith and Merrick Garland. Anyone that tried to prosecute Trump, they got to assume that Trump might be looking at them as well. We'll see. We'll see. But, yeah, many have suggested that Trump's enemies list should be pardoned by Biden, just for unity's sake. I mean, all of these trials, everyone that Trump is targeting, most of these folks have a huge fan base. So if Trump starts going after them people, a lot of their fans are not going to like Trump too. So for the sake of unity, people have suggested that Biden just remove them out of Trump's radar and just pardon them. We'll see. I actually do believe if he can pardon that damn children for dollars, this judge in Pennsylvania that was literally giving tough sentences to juveniles because he had a associate that owned the prison, a for-profit juvenile detention center. So he's sending this guy basically customers. You own a prison. I'm somebody who sentenced people to your prison. You're going to give me a kickback if I can fill your prison? He was doing that with kids. In 2011, he got like a 15, 17-year sentence or something like that. He was in prison still. Biden pardoned that dude. I don't know how the hell that happened. My guess is Biden is signing pardons that some of his cronies are recommending. That shouldn't have happened. That should not have happened. I don't know why it happened, but I believe that Biden did not know he was signing that for that dude. I really believe that. But I will say that if you're going to pardon that guy, there's a hell of a lot of other Americans that should qualify for a pardon before that dude did. There are children out there that got criminal records because of this guy. Just fucking up lives of kids because you're profiting from it. Looking in the comments, pushback, we need more stats. Sheldon, when he's speculating like that in regards to who's taking children's lives in schools, it's going to be hard to give you stats. And at the same time, I would submit to you that even if we presented stats, you might not even agree with the place or the location or the media outlet the stats came from. Should any adult sign something if they aren't aware of what they're signing? No, they shouldn't. And once they sign it, they should get credit for it. Good or bad. This is why I was saying the same thing about Trump. If you're making bad appointments and then you're coming back and say, well, I appointed a rhino to that position. You're the one that signed so that this person got the job. You don't get to blame the guy you're calling a rhino or you're calling him a traitor. He wouldn't have gotten that job if it wasn't for you. Yeah, I agree. If you're an adult and you sign some shit, you should be held responsible for it. You don't get to blame the person that you appointed. I'll never understand why children always seem to be the target. So depressing, says Jacob. They're not always the target. People go to supermarkets and churches and lose their lives too. The children get more notoriety from the media because they're kids and they're the most innocent among us. But fact is, going to school is not the only place where you can become the victim of random gunfire. I mean, there's a Buffalo supermarket shooter. I was in El Paso, Texas, a week or so after that guy went into the Walmart down there and saw that solemn event. There are plenty of places as an adult you can go and get shot up too. Churches is happening in a number of churches, synagogues, you name it. You're not safe no matter where you go in America, which is why the 2A people are suggesting that if I want to bring a gun in court, I should be able to bring it there too. Because I'm not safe anywhere. You're not safe anywhere. But we're talking about kids because they are the most innocent among us. All right, let me go back to the box. Continuing on with DJ. Oh, he's not in there. We'll continue on with MAGA Reacts. Good evening, MAGA Reacts.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, not much at all. Good to have you back on. Biden is selling off the wall, by the way. We were talking about that earlier. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a fucking joke. They said Trump never built the wall, that
he didn't build it.
Comes to the wall, yet there's so much so much wall material that they haven't been able to sell it off. And it's sitting there in the desert. Like, what are you guys talking about? It's right there. How are you gonna say Trump didn't do his job about fighting for the wall? And every deal involved the wall. Every deal he made as president involved the wall in one way. He wanted to trade DACA for the wall, and they wouldn't take DACA because they didn't want to give him the wall.
Yeah. I don't, something personally, even though I lean left on a lot of politics, I don't see any issue with the wall, because I don't think the wall will stop the majority of immigrants that are entering this country. I don't think they're all running across the desert. It will stop some. Most immigrants are entering this country by overstaying their visa or literally being smuggled in through legal points of entry. They're not all running across the desert. I don't buy that.
Well, that used to be the case. Now it is the southern border. Like, maybe 4 years ago, it was the case that most of them came by airplane. But now I know Egyptians, all kinds of other countries, Chinese, a lot of people that have no business coming through the southern border are coming through the southern border.
Yeah, but even them. Yeah, but even the ones that are doing it, they're walking up to a point of entry and requesting asylum. You don't need to sneak in right now. All you got to do is say, I want to request asylum, and they're giving you a court date. There's no need right now to be running across the desert. The only way you'd run across the desert is if you've been caught entering before and you have some kind of criminal history that's going to come up during a background check. But if you've never been to America, you have no need to run across the desert. You don't have to do that.
There'll be a need once they bring back Wade in Mexico.
True. That is true.
And again, it's not just the wall. Like, the wall itself is not going to keep really anybody out. It's the infrastructure around it. Like, I remember Border Patrol said it's the roads that it gives us roads to patrol the border, so we could travel places that we couldn't travel before because there's no roads. So it adds roads, and people say, why not do cameras and all these other things, drones? Now you have an infrastructure to put cameras on and put other sensors and other devices on.
Can he do all what he's promising in only 4 years? And hang on, before you answer that, JJ Ball, you asked, did I hear about the mass casualty event in Wisconsin today? That's the actual topic of the show. We're talking about that. And thank you for the super chat. But do you think Trump can do all of these things? I mean, some of this stuff is fairly involved. He only has 4 years. You think he can accomplish all this stuff?
I was watching an interview earlier today talking about FDR and how he was one of our greatest presidents.
Right.
And that despite a lot of his things being somewhat of a failure, especially at the beginning, he was still popular, and he was reelected 4 times back when you could be reelected more than twice. And it wasn't that he succeeded, it's that he fought for the American people, and, he told them by radio. So sometimes it's just fighting for the people is enough to make them happy. Like, if we see you fighting, which, love him or hate him, Trump was fighting for the wall all 4 years. And
but fighting for the wall, but there's a big difference between fighting for the wall and fighting for the American people. When you're saying things like fuck your feelings and sending out mean tweets, you're not doing everything that America wants. You obviously have some people that are pissed off and you don't give a damn about them. He
never said that himself, by the way. That's other people. That's Ben Shapiro more than Trump. You keep quoting him saying fuck your feeling and saying liptards, and he's never actually used either of those terms.
He just tweeted out on Thanksgiving Day, referred to the liberals as lunatics. He just put that in his own message on Thanksgiving Day.
Lunatics, yes. Liptards, that's not a term he would use.
What's the difference?
And I'm just saying, those two I'm just being technical here. I'm not being, I'm not trying to say he's a nice guy. I'm just saying.
Well, what I'm saying is, when you say he's, fighting for the American people, when you're insulting people like that, they're not going to see you fighting for them.
No, but you can see the reason he's insulting people is to get what he promised the people,
By calling them lunatics?
What's up?
By calling them lunatics, you're going to get, what are you saying?
No, just again, you keep concentrating on the negative. Most people just concentrate on the positive.
Nobody does that. No, that's not true. If you're a president, there are going to be people, I don't care, if they concentrated on the color of the suit Obama was wearing, that he didn't wear a flag lapel. They didn't concentrate on the positive. What are you talking about?
Okay, let me rephrase that. Depending on what side you're on, the people that like Trump don't concentrate so much on the insults. They don't even notice they don't pay attention to half that stuff because one, Fox News doesn't sit there and highlight it like MSNBC and these other channels highlights it.
No, Fox News is too busy highlighting the negatives of the other side.
Exactly.
Like Willie Brown, like Kamala Harris and Willie Brown back 40 years ago affair. But they're skipping over all the affairs Trump had with all his wives.
Well, the difference is that affair got her job.
There's no evidence of that. There is zero evidence of that.
There's a ton of evidence for that.
What is the evidence?
Even like questionable.
What is it?
What do you mean? He was the mayor of San Francisco, and he got her the job as the DA of San Francisco. And
so if hold on
to the top.
So if I sleep with the mayor of my town and I get a prominent position, there's no way in hell I could have earned it. It had to be because of that affair.
I mean, he's a known kingmaker. So if you sleep with a known kingmaker and he makes you a king, you know, it's we could put two and two together.
What do you mean by who else did he promote? You said he's a known kingmaker. Where is that coming from?
It's just something he's known for, especially in San Francisco.
Known how? Give me some names. Who else did he promote?
I don't have like the exact.
Then what makes you say that?
This is what I get from the media.
That's what you get from the right-wing media. That's what you're getting from the right-wing media.
You don't think he's popular in San Francisco, and you don't think he helped her get the job?
Well, first of all, her being attorney general and her being a district attorney are elected positions. He didn't appoint her to those jobs. She got elected.
He got her that first job in San Francisco, and the rest are just for her being who she is was like just easy for her because it's California. They're gonna vote for anyone with a D on their name.
And you think she's the only one that ran? You think when she ran for attorney general, she was unopposed? When she ran for district attorney, she was unopposed?
What I said is he got her started. I didn't say that he got her the whole way there. He definitely got her started, especially, the San Francisco stuff. After San Francisco, I have no idea how much he helped her or, he didn't help her. But he definitely got her started. Where Trump, none of the women he slept with got him started in politics.
No, his women didn't get him started. He got the women started. Trump played the role of Willie Brown for a host of women, including Stormy Daniels. That was the whole thing about that. He was trying to get her on The Apprentice. He was Willie Brown.
Okay, and that's not the part in question.
So is that so? It's wrong to climb your way to the top, but it's not wrong to help somebody who is not justified get there.
Yeah, especially if you climb your way, if you're helping someone else, that's fine. If
they're not, hold on. If you're telling me that if you fuck somebody and you promote them to a position that they don't rightfully deserve, that ain't wrong for you to do that.
It's not that it's right or wrong. Is
it wrong?
We're talking about the other side.
We're talking about both sides. Trump played the role of Willie Brown.
It's immoral, but this is the thing. She didn't come out and say, "Hey, he got me started." She's saying she did everything herself, which is clearly not the fact. Like she's trying to take credit for this huge climb through politics, but most of that climb was easy for her because she's a Democrat. She's a Democrat in California.
Wait, hold on. You do realize Ronald Reagan used to be the governor of California. She got her gig back in the 80s during the height of the Ronald Reagan administration, right after he was governor of California. California was not far left when she was climbing. So what, you're assuming that California, well, you're a liberal, you're going to go all these places in California. Also, keep in mind, Schwarzenegger was a Republican governor in California recently. It wasn't that far left. Huh?
Let me look up her wiki, because I don't think she started out in the 80s. She's not old enough to start out in the 80s.
She's 60 years old. Hell, I'm old enough to start out in the 80s.
Let me
She's
see
60.
Where she started. Hold on.
She's 60 years old.
No, she became district attorney of San Francisco in 2004.
The Willie Brown event. Willie Brown is 90 years old.
Okay, well, she dated him in 2004 to 2011. That's when she became district attorney of San Francisco.
Okay, and when was Schwarzenegger governor of California? You said it's a far left place. He was the governor there.
Yeah, he wasn't governor. He wasn't mayor of San Francisco. That's where she got in the door in San Francisco.
Okay.
But when she became governor, the DA of California, that was in 2011. By 2011, Schwarzenegger was long gone, I believe.
I don't believe that's true.
It might be wrong.
I don't think that's true. I don't think he was long gone by 2011. That state was not far left like you're trying to make it sound.
I know, but she was definitely not in the 80s or 90s. She was in the 2000s when it became far left.
Well, I'm just going to say this. You're making it sound like she slept with Willie Brown. He got a position, and that just spawned this.
He got her started. That's all I'm saying. I don't think
there's any evidence of that, though. I think that's just you feel that way. I mean, when she was senator, nobody was talking about Willie Brown.
It's been reported on by. Do you ever see the video of someone confusing her for being Willie Brown's daughter, and she's like, "No, that's my boyfriend," or something like that?
No, what does that got to do with it?
I'm just saying, it's just a cool video. I don't know. I was wondering if you saw it.
No.
It just shows how much older he was from her.
He's 90 years old. Dude is like 90 now, I think.
Yeah, but he was probably in his 60s, and she was in her late 20s. Early 30s.
Kind of like a Trump Stormy Daniels comparison.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. Like, it's immoral on both sides, but it's worse when you're trying to take credit for something that, when you got the job that way.
Yeah.
And
I guess
the DA of San Francisco that he definitely got her.
Like, hold on. Here's the issue. Now, Willie Brown, you're saying he gave her this start. You're admitting that he had nothing to do with her becoming attorney general, district attorney, senator, any of that. You're saying he gave her a start in the beginning. I would submit to you that we all have had a start in the beginning. Nepotism is kind of how that shit happens. You didn't fuck your way to get there, but most of us got kicked off in the beginning because we knew somebody or parents or somebody. That's kind of the American way. Why is it so bad when she does it?
It's not. It's just only bad because she's trying to take credit like she did it all. But
isn't Trump
shit? Because my dad got me started, so I got to deal with the same nepotism. But I don't try to take credit for stuff that he did.
Does Trump not take credit when he got started out by a very rich father? He takes credit like he did all that by himself.
Yeah, but he also gets hit on it in the same way she gets hit on it.
I don't think so.
He gets. What do you mean? Every time anyone says anything about how rich he is, it's like, oh no, he started with his daddy's money. They use that against him all the time, in the same way they use this against her.
Yeah,
I give her credit for taking what she got and making it something, because a lot of people will get a job like that and make nothing out of it.
Well, I'm just telling you, and I'm just telling you, when you talk about people sleeping their way to the top or getting a position, I think just about all of us, if it was not for somebody else helping us into the door in the beginning, very few people work their way up from nothing without any assistance or help. I mean, look at Kimberly Guilfoyle in the Trump family. You think she ain't fucking people to get to where she is now? She's the ambassador of Greece. She's another one.
She used to be Newsom's wife, I think.
Yeah, she was also on Fox News or the 5. She's doing the same stuff as well, and ain't nobody saying nothing about her.
Because who cares about the governor of Greece? Most of those positions are political, gifts to people, to donors anyway.
So you can sleep your way to the top in certain positions and not others.
No, I mean, she still slept her way to. I mean, you just proved my point. You're giving her a hard time for the same thing, and yeah, I'm with you. She slept her way to that position.
Okay, I almost slept her way right into being Trump's daughter-in-law. Came that close. I gotta move it on, though, man.
Hey, one last thing.
Real quick.
The last guy you had on, knows nothing about guns. First of all, a pistol is usually a higher caliber than a rifle. The rifle is just more accurate. And usually pistols are worried about more because they're easy to hide. It's really hard to hide a rifle and get it through security. So usually pistols are more dangerous because they're easy to hide.
But
but they're very
can't a lot of
inaccurate.
rifles be broken down? Though, can't you take a rifle and break it down?
It's still very hard. You know what? You know, if you take a pistol and you make it longer to be more accurate, it becomes illegal. Because the issue is not the caliber of the bullet; it's how accurate the
Okay.
pistol is versus the rifle. That's why it's also very easy to get a shotgun because it's very big and hard to conceal.
All right.
So sometimes it's not about the caliber of the. You know what the biggest caliber is? A hunting rifle has the biggest caliber, because that has to take down a pig or a deer or an elephant, and those are a lot harder to kill than a human being. Unalive, sorry.
Right. Well, we don't want somebody using we don't want somebody using a 50 cal in the second grader. But I gotta move it on though, man.
But they're all basically the same thing. The main difference is accuracy. But other than that, they all fire the same. They all could carry the same amount of pew-pews or whatever, same amount of ammo. They're all the same, except the rifle is more accurate, the pistol easier to conceal, and the most dangerous is the hunting rifle, because one shot from those and you're out. Because it's the biggest caliber and most powerful.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Moving on with the program. And there's a lot of liberals that don't know about firearms because they don't use them as much as the folks on the right. Or they may have one and they use it for self-protection, but they're not trying to, they're not, I don't, the liberals, there are plenty of liberals that have firearms, no doubt. But I think that the love of guns is far more stronger on the right side of the aisle. So it is what it is. School pew-pewers were not worried about hiding the firearm. I think in some cases, but the Sandy Hook guy who went there, the whole Alex Jones making fun of it and things like that, has to pay out a huge lawsuit. But Sandy Hook had just increased their security measures right before that event happened, where you lost 20 kindergartners. And that guy with a rifle shot his way past the security. I think he actually shot his way into the school. So, look, at the end of the day, no matter how tough you make a school, there's always going to be soft targets orbiting around it. Parents come pick their kids up from school. There's a bunch of kids out in front of the school. I mean, there's recess, there's field trips. You can have a school that's like a fortress. They got to come out eventually. So I don't even know. I mean, you can literally hide in the bushes of it could be a neighbor's house across the street from the school. Neighbors at work, hiding in the bushes with a long rifle. Even if the police are sitting right there, you may have popped 20, 30 kids before he can even find out where the shots are coming from. I don't know if there's any way to really curtail this as long as people can get access to the tools needed to do it. Look it in the comments real quick and tap the screen. Some of you folks are helping get the likes up. I appreciate that. A few of you guys are. So we can get to 30,000. Tap the screen, get the likes up. We're kicking the comments. Remember the one with police officer washed his hands when the school kids were calling the police saying, just walk in and help us. The police was washing his hands? Really? I haven't heard of that. I know Parkland, Florida, the officer who was stationed at the school went and took cover while he could literally hear the gunshots going off. And then, of course, Ubalde made a history because so many cops were outside the school and didn't go in. But is there another one? Oh, Ubalde. You said Ubalde had probably 20 cops outside. I mean, they had a lot of cops outside that didn't go in while the kids were being wiped out. Looking in the comments real quick, though. My kid's school has a metal detector, armed security, and clear backpacks with no lockers. Still not, even nowadays, when you see what happened with Luigi Maggione with the, what they call it, the ghost gun. I think they can make some of this stuff out of plastic. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a liberal that knows all about firearms, but they're increasingly getting more savvy in making weapons that will not show up on metal detectors as much. They're getting better at it. A metal detector is not going to be a reliable detection device much longer, in my opinion. They're starting to make them out of other stuff. Real quick, going to the box. No way to get past the metal detector. Says, well, the thing about it is, you got a metal detector. A metal detector is only as effective as the person that is running it. If the student can say I got on, a belt or piercings, we're just going on through. If the person operating the detector is not very effective or diligent at their position, then people are going to overlook shit. And when you got to sit there and wand hundreds of kids every day for an event that's probably not going to happen at 99.9% of schools, and they're likely not paying the person that's doing the wanding very much at all anyway, you increase the likelihood of something bad happening. That's what happened on September 11th, where they were paying college kids to sit there and wand people before they got on an airplane. And that's when they realized we need to have Homeland Security where people get paid a real check, a real career. They had just college kids sitting there. People weren't getting paid shit. Now you can actually make decent money working for Homeland Security, but the people who were guarding our airports, making sure you didn't get on a plane with a fire, they were just cheap security. Nobody wants to pay much for security until they feel unsecured. Let me go back to the box, continuing on with, I don't know what I just hit there. Blackjack. Good evening, Blackjack. Tap the screen, folks. Get us on up to about 40,000 likes. Smash that like button on YouTube. Do we even care about children losing their lives in school? That's what we're talking about. And of course, Biden selling the material for the wall. Literally selling off the wall, knowing damn well that Trump plans on building a wall and the material's just laying there. And he's going to sell it away for pennies on the dollar so that when Trump takes office, he got to rebuy this shit at 3 times the price. Trump was on TV today, holding a press conference, begging Biden, stop selling the damn wall. I don't know. If you were Biden, let me just add, before I go back, the box is playing games. I'll give it a moment to reset. If you're President Biden, Trump has accused you of stealing the election, using your Department of Justice to have him wrongfully arrested and imprisoned if you can, and blamed you on his assassination attempts, plural. If you're Biden and he's begging you to stop selling the wall, would you do it? Would you do it? After he said you did, after he's accused you of all of these major felonies. Looking in the comments, keep on selling, says Big Dog. We've become jaded as a society. We've become, shit, some might say we've always been that way. All they have to do is pay close attention to the white man. What does that mean? What the hell does that mean? You're talking about multiple different problems. We talk about multiple different problems every day there, Matt. School systems need their own police force. Colleges do have that. Colleges already do. A lot of universities do have their own police force. But keep in mind, for the most, you're the Second Amendment folks who will say, when minutes count, when you need the police are always minutes away when you only got seconds or something like that. Police are reactive. Police are generally not reliable proactively. They usually show up to address something that has already happened. They don't usually prevent it from happening. So me personally, maybe I'm wrong, but I personally do not believe having an armed officer in your school, police, security guard, whatever the hell it is, I don't believe that would stop this, because I believe that they are a reactionary force. You hear the sounds of popping, you run to the event, hopefully they take out the assailant. Well, he's already taking people out though. Now they may limit how many kids lose their lives. Maybe without the police there would have been 20 cat to him, it's only 6, but he is reacting, he's not proactive. I don't believe the police are going to stop this. Because, like I said, I believe they're reactionary. I don't believe they're proactive. Looking in the comments, Trump should have passed that damn border bill that Langford wrote up was F perfection. Well, maybe that's why Biden is selling the wall. You said because Trump, I think it's safe to say Biden's legacy is hurting. I don't know what his legacy will be, but I don't think it's looking good right now. If Trump becomes a successful president, Biden's legacy is really going to suck. Nobody's going to give a damn about the CHIPS Act or the infrastructure bill 10, 15 years from now. He pardoned his son. That ain't going to look good. Gave him a 10-year blank. Trump has definitely hurt Biden's legacy. It wouldn't surprise me if Biden was trying to troll Trump on the wall. I don't want him to be responsible for doing any damn good. He fucked me up. So maybe Biden is trying to get some get back on Trump. Let me try with another guest. I don't know what happened there on my last guest. We'll try it again with Mike. Good evening, Mike. Welcome to the program. I'm not a cop fan. There's a lot of trash. Damn, Steve. Are you an ACAB type person? Mike, good evening.
What's going on, Tim?
Not much at all. Yet another school, Madison, Wisconsin. At least 2 have lost their lives. Do we give a damn about this happening? Because it seems to keep happening, and I think we all believe and feel confident it will happen again.
It will. We don't care. They don't care. They don't care. You know, they're so worried about infringing on rights when we know that we have to do something about the availability of weapons in this country. We know that, and you know, it's they don't care. So they don't care. It keeps happening, and they keep giving condolences. But when you bring up, you know, trying to do something that may change the Second Amendment, no, we don't want to do that because we're infringing. Well, we're infringing on people's rights all the time.
What do you mean? I don't get that.
Isn't mass deportation infringing on people's rights?
Well, not if they're not an American. The question is, how much rights do they have?
Well, but that's not what we're ultimately talking about. They're talking about changing laws, denaturalization. It's not just about. Oh,
you mean you think mass deportation will affect the rights of actual American citizens too?
100%, 100%. You're gonna have to infringe on someone's rights to actually do it. So they don't care. If they care, we wouldn't be having this conversation. How many times does it have to happen? How many times does it have to happen before you do something? But no, you don't want to do anything. Instead, you want to vilify people. You want to set these narratives out there that we continue to talk about over and over again. And you get people like MAGA Reacts that believes this bullshit. And that's not the reality. But then now we're talking about unifying, bringing people together. It's such bullshit that it stinks to high heaven. Because if you wanted to bring people together, we wouldn't be having these conversations all the time asking, why was this said? Why was that said? Why are they doing that? It's just ridiculous, Tim. It's so out of control that there's no argument. They don't care. They just don't care.
Yeah. Now, see the comment. This is an interesting statement, similar to what you're talking about. Eric says, how can someone be pro-gun and claim they are pro-life? That's deep.
You can't, and they're right. And they're right. To the extent, we always have to get in the minutia about what we're actually talking about. We're not talking about people protecting their homes. We're not talking about people that are hunting enthusiasts or collect. That's not what we're talking about. We have so many. You remember did you ever get the full letter from the president of Mexico when she had wrote the letter? And
I got it, but I haven't read it. Yeah.
Okay. When she was talking about, we don't have all the pew-pews that come to our country are made in America.
Yep.
Right? So we have more pew-pews in this country than people.
Yeah.
How does that make sense? Well, and the funny thing is, how many times do we hear about when people say using it for protection? To your point earlier, how many stories do we hear about people using them for protection in the commission of a legitimate crime?
That happens often. There's a lot of defensive use of firearms that is not covered by the media because a lot of them are brandishing. You know, like somebody is you hear a noise out back and you show up on the porch with a firearm, the criminal sees you and leave. The media is not going to cover that. So there are a lot of defensive use of firearms, though.
But why would you not? If that's the reason why you are pro pew-pews, then why would that not be elevated to show people? See, this is why we think we need to have them. That's not what gets reported on. And then these children continue to get unalived unnecessarily, and we say we care. We don't care.
Yeah, I gotta say that it is difficult to make a case that America cares about its children losing their lives in school due to gunfire because I mean, even my right wingers that I got coming up, my hardcore Second Amendment supporters, they're twisted in about transgender and all kinds because they don't have an answer for that. I think it is hard to come up with a legitimate answer that shows, yes, we do actually care if children lose their lives due to gunfire in schools. I don't think we care either. I don't think there's any evidence to suggest otherwise.
But instead, we're talking about transgenders in bathrooms. We're talking about brown folks coming and pouring into the country and poisoning the blood of our country. But the fact of the matter is, this is a much bigger issue in this country than those two things combined. But we don't give a damn because that's not the objective. The objective is to continue to vilify people of color and women and put these laws in place that are oppressing them. It's not about the children. It's not about the children. It never has been.
Yeah.
And you and I, we talked about it before. You can look up more cases of the church committing crimes against children.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what are we doing about that? Yeah. I'm not hearing that.
Yeah, I definitely think that. I definitely think that we care far more about 2A rights than we do about the lives of children. I think you could have a school shooting every day and people would be, I mean, because that's what we generally do. Anytime there's an event like this, we rush to defend the gun. Don't, somebody died, but don't fuck with my gun rights. In fact, we start making it easier and easier. We rush to defend the gun even more when children lose their lives.
100%. And you talked about, you said something earlier that I wanted to bring up because it happened to me yesterday, like literally yesterday, about metal detectors in school.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it does come down to the people.
To the operator.
Let me give this happened to me yesterday, Tim. I was flying to Vegas, me and my daughter, and she forgot that she had her box cutter in her purse.
Okay.
Going through the X-ray machine. We were looking. She said, I'm not sure if I took it out of my purse or not. We were looking at the X-ray monitor screen. I saw it. I said, there it is right there. I saw it. We both looking at it. You know that came right through and her purse came right to us.
Damn. So you got on the plane with a box cutter?
No, I actually said, give me this. I took it to the counter.
Okay.
I took it to the counter and I said, listen, we just came through right here. And the guy was like, so, everything okay? And I took it and I slapped it on the counter like a domino. I said, no, everything's not okay.
Damn.
And he said, where did you just come from? I said, right here. Right?
I'm surprised you did that because you could have slapped it on the counter and could have said thanks and I turned your ass around. I'm surprised you did that. I wouldn't have done that.
You know why I did it? Because, number one, I just came through. They can go back and look at the cameras and see where we came from, number one. Number two, they need to know.
Yeah.
They need to know. And who is this? Milkman? Again, I don't even know how to read comments because I don't really give a shit about what these people think because they don't pay attention, right? Because here's what I would say to anybody that wants to hold on to their 2A rights and don't think that these kids are worth it. If you knew it was going to be your kid, would you change your mind? And the answer to that is unequivocally yes. So when you sit around saying that this is not an issue, but see, the problem is in this country, people don't put themselves in other people's shoes.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
They don't. They just move on and they go, oh, well, or they give a condolence and it's not changing anything. Yeah. It's not changing anything. They're too readily available. Now, what I think they need to do with these schools, I think they need to use technology. I think they need to have, just like they need to have a center in the district that has screens and can view campuses from wherever. And there needs to be somebody on campus that they don't have security cameras.
Yeah, but even if you do, just like Maggione, who took out the CEO in New York. Okay, if you put cameras everywhere, then you just videotape somebody getting shot. That ain't gonna stop it from happening, though.
Yeah, well, but again, it's all a deterrent. You're right. It's not gonna completely stop anything.
What would you do if you wanted to stop it? What would you do if you wanted to stop it? Not film it, not arrest it. If you wanted to stop it, what would you do?
I think that it starts with limiting what types of weapons are on the street. What do you need an assault pew-pew for? For what? Why are they so readily available? Some of these open carry states, you can carry as many rounds as you want. You can buy as many rounds as you want. You can have extended clips, all this for what? What are we actually?
So I had another caller before that said you should not be able to buy 1,000 rounds of ammunition. So you agree with that?
Yes, I do. Listen. Okay, so look. Let me see if I can turn my camera on real quick. I'm gonna show you something.
You about to show me 1,000 rounds real quick before you do that. I wanted to address it. Go ahead. What is? Go ahead.
You see what I'm showing?
I don't see nothing on your camera's not on.
Okay, hold on. What about now?
Okay, give me a second. Let me see if I can actually. Okay, what are you showing me?
I'm showing you. This is my backyard. Those are two schools right behind my house.
Okay.
That is a junior high school and a high school. So to your point earlier, Tim.
Hiding in the bushes, scoping them out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I say what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
We have to do something. I've coached at these schools for years, right? I can walk right up in the back of this school anytime I wanted to.
Yeah. I don't, and that's what I'm saying. As long as the tools are available, I don't think you can stop it. As long as people can get firearms, and certainly very accurate firearms, you can do whatever the hell you want at schools. I mean, I don't think you can stop it.
Right. So we have to be aggressive about this. So that's my point. We're talking about mass deportation and changing the Constitution and all this nonsense about that. But this, don't worry about it. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. We're talking about who slept with who and all this other stuff and what difference does it make when somebody, listen, people, when you talk about rights, parents have a right to drop their child off and believe they're going to come home.
Yeah. You would think so. You would think so. But
did you ever think about it with your kids?
No, it wasn't happening in our day. It was not happening in our day. In fact, I could walk in my high school and any door, it was open. I could get there an hour early if I wanted to study and sit in the cafeteria. There was no metal detectors. Nobody cared about you walking around schools. It's a different world.
We went through natural disaster drills in school. These kids are going through active pew drills at school.
It's a different
and it's
world.
It's not that important. That's why I'm telling you, Tim, in all sincerity, all the rest of this stuff and talking about, that's why I don't believe in Trump's administration. I don't believe, because what they're saying and what they're doing is not helping us come together. It's not making anybody safer. Think about this. The left was supposed to be the elitists, right? The left.
That's what they say.
Right, that's what they say. What's the wealth of his cabinet that he's trying to bring in right now?
A lot. A bunch of billionaires. Well, Elon Musk has got to represent everything the left could come up with.
Right. So it's not about any of this stuff. It's really not, and it's not gonna change until when people talk about coming together, they are gonna get off their high horse about 2A and say we got to do something to protect kids and come to the table. But it's a non-starter. Right? It's a non-starter. They won't even come to the table to talk about it.
Yeah, right? Good luck with that. Good luck with the 2A says shall not be infringed. They mean it. I got to move it on, no, Mike. That ain't going to happen. You're right. It's a non-starter. Any law that limits guns is a stepping stone towards total confiscation. So they don't want any, even like bump stocks and shit, where I think probably over 99.99% of gun owners want nothing to do with a bump stock, don't own it, and yet they're fighting to make bump stocks remain legal, even though that doesn't affect hardly anybody that owns guns. So they don't want any law.
And you got to call them on it. When people come up and try to make it make sense, you got to call them on it. You got to just stop and be like, no, that's bullshit. You're not sincere about protecting people. You're not. Because you're not even willing to talk about it.
Good point.
You're not even willing to talk about it. Would you go to the doctor and just not talk to your doctor about an ailment? Would you just not say nothing?
That would be a hell of a visit. That would be a hell of a visit.
It would be a hell of a visit, man. It's crazy. So anyway.
All right, Mike.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate that. Same. I want to respond to a couple of super chats real quick. Will G says, gun manufacturers, brokers, and lobbyists will forever gatekeep this situation because it will hurt their bottom line if laws change for the better. That's a good point. Is that a lot of the reason we have the very relaxed gun laws is people were making money off of it. And that is true, whether it's for private prisons, whether it's the gun manufacturers, of course. politicians that are making a killing from NRA, but say NWA, NRA campaign donations. There is, you know what they always say, follow the money. There is a lot of money behind our gun laws. There is a lot of money in that. That is true. Anytime there's a mass casualty event, you can assume there's probably some backdoor meetings at the NRA. How are we going to get ahead of this? Yeah, we got 4 more that lost their lives or 2 more, whatever it is in Madison. We got 2 more kids that lost their lives. We got to hold a meeting tomorrow. How do we get ahead of this? My guess is that probably happens at the NRA. Certainly at some major events like Sandy Hook or Virginia Tech or the El Paso Walmart, they probably hold a meeting. Like, how do we get ahead of this? You know they're going to come after our rights. We need to get ahead of this. We need to start, promoting stronger gun access, because they're going to try to do the opposite. I would not doubt that. I would not doubt if they're doing it. Real quick, I do want to address another super chat. It says, let the gun laws in blue cities be released. Be relaxed. Okay, let the gun laws in blue cities be relaxed. The gun lobby and sales will skyrocket, and black people will make gun makers millionaires. Trillionaires. Well, that actually is happening, Will. The gun laws in blue cities are being relaxed. You often hear about Chicago being used as a whipping boy for its tough gun laws. It ain't that hard to get a gun in Chicago anymore. They've relaxed their gun laws significantly. And I think New York has too. It ain't many places in this country where if you want to own a firearm and you're a law-abiding citizen, you can't do it. We can talk about Chicago, we can talk about the liberals and all of this other bullshit, but fact is, if you're standing on the ground in 99% of them, almost anywhere you go in America, if you're standing somewhere in America, the spot you're standing, if you got if you don't have a criminal record, you can own a gun in this spot. Maybe not in court, but think about all of the cities you see on the map. You look at a map, okay, New York's on the map, but Syracuse, Schenectady, all that other, anywhere else you go, there's a handful of places that you may face a little bit of a challenge to own a firearm. But there's got to be tens of thousands of cities in this country. Counties, cities, townships, villages. You can own a firearm in just about all of them. There's not any real strict gun laws. Even in liberal states, for the most part, if you want to own a firearm, you can own it. Now, there may be some limitations on, okay, well, I can own a machine gun over here, but I can't own, okay, but if you just want something that goes bang to defend your family, you can get that anywhere in America. Now, I know the further right you go, the more assets they want. Some people say grenades and, a lot of military surplus they should have access to as well. Now, that's when it starts to change. But for the most part, if you're in America, you want a firearm to defend yourself, you can get something. You can get something. Looking in the comments real quick, same with the automobile industry. Shouldn't we have better mass transit systems? I don't think it's a privilege to own, it's a privilege to drive a car and own a car. It's a right to own a gun. So there's a difference there. But when you look at, firearms has been around since the beginning of the country. Before that, even before. So Second Amendment, 1789 or whenever the hell that came. When you look at when automobiles, when the Model T came out in the early 1900s, look at the rules governing the operation of an automobile in the early 1900s versus what they are now. Just to pass a driver's ed test. When I came up, there's a whole host of laws that are out there that govern people trying to get a driver's license, a young kid, that didn't exist when I came. Hell, I go back to the day when your car only had a mirror on the driver's side. There was no analog brakes, airbags weren't there. I'm telling my age, yeah. Kids didn't have to be in child seats. There's all kinds of new laws that are constantly being added to operating a motor vehicle to make it safer. We've added nothing to make guns safer. Nothing. They're still using the laws from the 1700s. Even though the tool, meaning the firearm, is getting more powerful and more deadly. That would be like going from a Model T to a semi truck and adding no extra laws to make it safer. I mean, the firearm industry has literally done that. Went from a Model T to a semi, something that's far more bigger and powerful, and they've added no extra provisions to make it safer. We'll give you the keys to this semi just like we give you the keys to this Model T. We'll give you the keys to this pistol, and we'll give you the keys to a 50 cal the same way. They've made no change, even though it's far more deadlier and all of that. So I don't know if that really makes sense, but a lot of Americans favor it. Looking in the comments real quick before we continue on. Handsome dude, you're completely off the point now. Let me know how, LP. The 2A has two parts to it. One part that talks about the militia being well regulated, and the other part that addresses individual persons in the U.S. Well, the militia thing is where a lot of people have a difference of opinion on what it means. Continuing on, let's try DJ Julio again. Good evening, Julio, if you're there this time. And I see that Snuggles, good evening. Rode in the back of a station wagon making fake. Yeah, it was a different time then. We've passed a lot of laws to make vehicle operations safer in America. Crumple zones on cars, what the steering wheel's made of as opposed to metal where you bump your head against it and crack your damn skull. We've done all kinds of stuff. Headrest so you don't get whiplash. I mean, they've done nothing to the operation of a firearm to make it safer. Yet the firearm has gotten deadlier and deadlier and deadlier. I don't know if that makes sense in my opinion. I don't know what's happening with. We tried to bring up Julio. Don't know if it doesn't like you today or something, Julio, but we'll give it a second. If not, I'm here. Okay, there you go. All right. What am I know I'm getting a lot wrong in your eyes. Correct me. What am I getting wrong?
I mean, listen, you're entitled to your opinion. Second Amendment's going to be Second Amendment. It's constitutional. Stricter gun laws aren't going to prevent this.
What would?
Starts at home.
What would?
This shit starts at home.
Okay. Give me an example. What if you had to submit a report, your recommendation how to end this, what would you say? What do you think should be done?
I would ask the parents about their disciplining. Were you able to spank your child? Were you able to correct your child? So, and I've said this before when we talked about these kind of things, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, the Department of Social Services made it damn near illegal for a parent to spank their child. If you left a mark that lasted on your child's butt, lasted longer than five minutes, you're going to fucking jail. You're losing your kid.
So good old-fashioned ass whoopings.
Yes. I mean, I raised my kids with spankings. My mom was a supervisor of the Department of Social Services. I told her, take me to fucking court. I'm spanking my kids. My kids are not going to be disrespectful fuckers in the community. They're not.
But here, let me push back. And I'm a fan of corporal punishment. I grew up with a Marine as a daddy who whooped my ass anytime I got out of line. And as a 50-year-old man, I don't have any criminal history at all. So I don't disagree with that. But a lot of these school shooters, they don't have a history of being a bad kid. They actually a lot of these kids have grown up in very well-off families. We're doing well in school and all of that. So these ain't the kind of kids you're gonna whoop their ass to begin with.
Right, and these kids also are the ones that are entitled in life and get to do what they want when they want because their parents aren't going to correct them on their shit. So they stay themselves out of trouble for the most part. Then they have a bad day. Then that bad day gets worse, and then they go to the school with their dad's gun, and then bad shit happens.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is this. The type of children that are doing this, many of them come from middle class or even damn near well-off families. And even during the era when we used to kick kids' ass for acting up, these ain't the kind of kids that would have happened to.
No, because this generation, the generation that came after X, you can't spank.
You didn't hear what I said. I'm saying
these are entitled ass kids. I said that in the beginning of my remarks. These kids are entitled.
Okay.
If you're well off or if you're middle class, you're definitely probably most likely an entitled kid. That means when you turn to driving age, your parent always had, whatever you wanted to eat in the refrigerator. You had all those things.
But what I'm telling you,
when you get told you can't have those, when you can't have those things, and it becomes an anger issue for you, now that you're not being led or not being entitled the way that you're used to.
Yeah, but what I'm telling you is even back in the 70s and 80s, whereas we may have gotten our ass kicked, those kids weren't getting their asses kicked back then either.
Well, no, I mean, I got my fair share of ass whoopings. I mean, shit. I got whooped with a wooden spoon most
You
of my
probably didn't grow up well off.
We grew up definitely middle class.
Okay, so do we. But I don't think some of these entitled kids, though, I don't think these are the type of kids that generally would be getting their ass kicked by their parents.
No, absolutely not. That's what I'm saying is their parents aren't parenting.
I mean, even if it was allowed.
Well, no, that's my point, I guess. That's the only point I really have to make on that is if these kids are parented, not just let to live their life, but parented with strict rules, responsibility, and respect, you're not going to have that situation. The kids that are doing this didn't grow up in a household where responsibility was important. They didn't grow up in a house where respect was important. They grew up doing what they fucking wanted to.
But here's where I have an issue with what you're saying. In the black community, for instance, there's a whole lot of people growing up in single parent households, and that single parent is going to work every damn day. So that kid really is not getting disciplined. And in the black community, going to school and shooting up a bunch of innocent people doesn't really happen that much. And they definitely ain't getting their asses kicked. All of the stuff you're saying is happening, yet they're not doing that.
Okay, first of all, kids in the lower income families, kids in the black communities, the brown communities, any POC, those kids already know fuck around and find out. Those kids already know if you fuck up, I don't give a shit what the DSS is going to do. They can have you for a month. I don't give a shit. Yeah. I'm going to beat your ass.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the reality of it. And then you get up into the upper echelons in life, and the parents, you're right, the CEO's off doing this thing, mama's out spending CEO's money, kids got their house to themselves 9 times out of 10 during the week. They don't have any real structure. They don't have any real responsibility. They don't earn or learn any real respect. And this all starts when you told us, not you, but when the government told us you can no longer spank your kids.
So you think the solution to all of this is just good old-fashioned ass whoopings?
I believe it 100%. Yeah, I mean, my daughter's not here right now, but you can ask her how I feel about that shit. 100%.
I don't know. I've never, that's a unique approach. I've never heard anybody say that. I do believe, though, good old-fashioned ass whoopings would solve something, like people, arguing with their teacher and kids acting out in Walmart. I do believe there is some solutions that would come from good old-fashioned ass whoopings. I don't know if school shootings would be solved, but that's a different approach.
Well, just look at the statistics. I mean, yes, we have social media and we have the internet nowadays, so you're going to see everything from everywhere. But how much of this shit did we hear about when me and you were in school? You're only, 5-10 years older than me? What are you, 50?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 5 years older than I am. How much of this shit did we have? I had, in my entire schooling, one crazy motherfucker hold up a classroom with a shotgun. Nobody got killed.
You actually had that happen? I didn't even have nothing like that happen. Wow. Well, but I'll say this, though.
Ryan Harris, South Dakota. You guys can fact check me because I know you're going to call me a liar because you do about my race and everything else. But South Dakota, Ryan Harris, it had to have been 95 or 6.
But, man, good old-fashioned ass whoopings. I don't know. I don't know that alone would do this.
I don't know if that alone would do it. I don't think that guns don't hurt people. Okay? First of all, guns do not hurt people. The person behind it does. The person behind it, why is he hurting enough that he feels he needs to hurt everybody else?
Let me answer that.
Probably because he didn't have no damn structure.
No, I think it's more than that. And now that you brought that up, it reminds me. Okay, you're right. Guns don't hurt people. Neither does a bag of schmack. So I don't know. We want to legalize drugs. But in regards to saying that, structure, when you and I were kids, parents didn't have 2 jobs and no time to spend. Because even if you bring back discipline, the way our people have to work nowadays to get by, they won't be home to do it anyway. You had mom at home and dad worked or something of that nature. People didn't have to work as much as they do. Remember the whole Dolly Parton 9 to 5? People worked business hours. They didn't make people work at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning because some store want to be open to sell color TVs at 3 o'clock in the morning. That shit didn't used to happen. People didn't work 24 hours enough. A lot of that has to do with the fact that parents cannot adequately parent because their employers are so damn demanding. Some jobs are even requiring people to show up to work on Thanksgiving because they want to get ahead of a Black Friday sale. You could spend time with your kids when we were parents. You can't do that as much now. The jobs require so much from the employee that even if you want to have a good parent, our capitalist system doesn't allow it always.
No, and a lot of that I believe from listening to other people talk about it and from reading up. I don't read a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. I listen a lot more than I read. When we start with we have a federal income tax. Now, the federal income tax was imposed because of wartime shit.
Okay.
And we've maintained wartime efforts forever. I mean, we were in Iraq for 20 years. That gives the government the ability to ask us for more money from taxes. Now, with Trump and all of those guys from Doge getting into the office, starting off, cutting all these taxes, I think we're going to see life like it was in the 80s and 90s again, where we could afford shit.
I didn't see it the first 4 years he was in office.
No, again, and I'm going to defend him the same way every time. It's not easy to do that job, period. But imagine having to do that job while fighting numerous allegations, numerous impeachments, and having all these people throw lawfare at him.
And you don't think that's going to happen now with the largest deportation in history? That's going to happen again.
No, not a chance. Not a chance in hell. Not after being named Times Man of the Year. Come on.
Wasn't he named something like that before?
No, that was one that it was a vision board for him that he made.
I can tell you, because right now Biden is selling the damn wall. They're not going to get they're not going to get Trump a chance from day two either. I mean, Trump has been, obviously his first presidency, he was pissing off a lot of people. During the offseason, he hasn't exactly been a nice guy either. They're not going to just sit back and idly let his administration be successful. They're going to troll him the same way he trolled Biden.
I don't see it that way.
Why not?
I don't see it that way because don't we have the majority in the House, Senate?
Barely in the House. The majority you have in the House is so, huh?
Like Vin Diesel said, the Democrats never had the House this next 4 years. Never had the Senate this next 4 years. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. So
that ain't true, because just like when the Democrats had the Senate, if you got people like Christian Sinema and Joe Manchin on the Senate with Democrats like that, who needs enemies? I mean, so if you got some of those kind of people on the Republican side of the aisle, you can have the majority and still not get shit done. Because I think there were several, like the George Floyd bill, for instance. Joe Manchin, a Democrat senator, shot that down. Some of the things that Joe Biden was trying to do, if you got a Democrat in there that is essentially working for the other side, you can have a majority and still not get the benefits of it. Christian Sinema's another one that totally changed parties after being voted in as a Democrat. Now she's like an independent or something like that. I'm assuming there's probably some Republicans like that.
I sure hope not.
Good luck with that.
Listen. At the end of the day, I just want him to succeed at his job. And America made a mandate. We voted him in overwhelmingly. 77, I think, was the last count on the votes. The last time I looked it up. When we can look it up again. I
never heard anybody say Obama had a mandate and he won by more than Trump did.
But he didn't win. Did he win both? Popular and electoral?
Every Democrat, when they win a popular vote. Democrats win a popular vote even when they lose.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Nobody said Obama had a mandate, and he definitely beat Mitt Romney and John McCain by a greater margin than Trump beat Biden. In fact, when Biden won in 2020, he won all 7 swing states and a popular vote. Nobody said he had a mandate. They said he cheated.
Yeah, well, this time we're saying he has a mandate because us Republicans speak.
Yeah, right, because it's what you want to hear. He had no mandate.
That's what we want to say, you know. And speaking of Republicans and all that stuff, somebody just mentioned, what about the 23 agents that they found in the 6th crowd?
What about all of the fake electors that pled guilty? I mean, there's suspicious issues of concern on both sides. But just like Dinesh D'Souza, you only see it when it's on the left.
I've been watching a little more MSN. It makes my teeth grind, but I try to.
I don't even watch MSN. I would tell you that.
I'm just trying to understand where y'all are coming from, because I don't like, it's so black and white for me. I don't understand why it's not for everybody else. Why
really?
It doesn't make sense that why doesn't it make sense that legal immigration is a positive thing?
Because because of the way it's being done. If Trump said, look, we got too many unknown people in this country, and we can't have folks coming in this country that we don't know. We need to. I think that's a logical thing to say. But when you start saying they're rapists and murderers and they're eating cats and dogs and shit, a lot of people know that that's not true. He literally exaggerates and sometimes lies when the truth is sufficient. There's a lot of people we don't know who the hell they are. We need to get that under control. You don't need to make up tales that they raping and murdering everybody and eating pets. The truth is sufficient.
Maybe that is the truth.
That ain't the truth. It ain't the truth.
We don't know that. We don't know that for sure, Tim. There's nothing, unless you have it in your hands and I have it in my hands. You're believing what somebody else said.
Hold on. The reason
military father the entire time you were growing up. I don't mean to cut you off, but you were taught a certain way to live.
That ain't why I'm saying that, Julio. The reason I'm saying it ain't true is because you got media out there that is in the tank for the left and media that's in the tank for the right. If Trump says something and he's being criticized for it, there are media personnel on the right that would prove what he's saying is true, so you know. They haven't, if you're watching Fox and they're not showing you a bunch of people eating cats and dogs, it ain't happening. You can be guaranteed Fox News sent people to Springfield to look for that, and they couldn't find it.
This is the one that frustrates me the most when I talk with you. Because nobody's going to show you them eating a cat. Bro.
Then how do you know what's happening? If nobody's going to show you.
You got to take the word. You're right. I can't say for a fact that it is.
It ain't happening.
I will never say with 100% certainty that it is happening. But I'm not going to say it's not happening because I'm not there. I didn't make the claim.
You got 20,000 immigrants in this little tiny ass town, and you can't find nobody that's eating a pet. They all in sync decided to hide it. You can't find one of these people. That ain't believable.
How often do you grill where everybody can see you?
I guarantee you, if I don't care if it's chitlins.
Just answer that question. How often do you grill or cook to where everybody can see you, all your neighbors? How often?
Then I'm going to go back to the original statement. Then how did you know to say it in the first place? How did you know? That's what I'm saying. If nobody grills,
answered the question.
I am answering the question. If nobody grills where you can see them, then how do you know it's happening to go on TV and say it?
Well, maybe little Johnny saw it going into the house and never saw it again.
Maybe little Johnny don't like Haitian immigrants.
Maybe little Johnny's a Haitian legal immigrant.
No. Here's the issue. You know how much money you could make if you are a Haitian and you could hand the Trump administration footage of Haitian migrants, processing a cat and killing. You know how much money Sean Hannity would have paid you for that? You would have found people that would have turned them in. I mean, there are people, they had people in that town looking for footage of that. You could make a fortune. If I'm a Haitian migrant and I eat cats or dogs, I would call Fox and tell him, I'll let you come to my house and see me process it and eat it. Because I'm going to make a killing. Not one person had footage.
Okay, now, first of all, Trump made it illegal for you to harm domestic pets. So you wouldn't come on the news and you wouldn't show me, if I'm your reporter, you processing that cat or that dog. You wouldn't show me you cooking that dog, because even if you got $10 million freaking dollars, you're going to jail. It's a felony, bro.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Trump said they're eating the pets of the people that live there. Where are all the pet owners complaining about their dog or cat missing?
Probably afraid to speak up.
What? If your dog came up missing, why would you be afraid to speak up?
Because I don't want to be on the grill too.
So now they're cannibals too, huh?
Man, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I'm just saying.
Hey,
I'm just saying. There's two reasons that nobody's come up. One, fear. Two, fear. One is fear of incarcerations. One's fear of retribution.
One is the other reason you're not talking about is because it's a lie and it didn't happen. Now they went from where we can't catch any of them eating cats and dogs to the people who own the cats and dogs. They also afraid to speak up because they think they might be cannibalized. Really?
Well, I'm not. Hey, listen. I'm just you asked for a remark to a question that really can't be answered by anybody ever with 100% certainty.
20,000 migrants in this little ass town, and you're having that much trouble finding any proof. 20,000 people, you can't find nothing.
Possibly.
Oh my God! If you believe that,
you're right. He should have said what he should have said is they're possibly eating the cats and dogs, and then it wouldn't be an issue.
No, you know what should have happened. Possibly. No, you know what should have happened, and when it came up. Because J.D. Vance started it. When it came up, they should have said, look into this and find out if it's true. That's what should have happened. Before you get on TV and tell that to the American people. Why don't you go look? This is ridiculous. You know we're going to secure this border. This will make a great issue to bring up. Why don't you go look into this to make sure this is true? That's what should happen.
You know, we have a lot of that should have, or okay. It would have been better ifs.
The shit sounds like
we can agree. We can agree on that. But what we could also agree on is that it's probably not happening, but it's possibly happening.
It ain't even possibly happening. And like Timothy Lee says in the comments, he says, ask him, do you eat cats and dogs? I'm assuming you don't eat a cat, but he says, can you prove that you don't? That's a great point. In other words, can you prove, if somebody says you eat cats and dogs, could you prove that you don't do it?
Which leads me back to that same statement I just made. It's possible that they're absolutely eating cats and dogs.
So in other words, it's possible. It is possible, Julio. So in other words, Julio, it's possible that you are eating people's pets in Dakota.
Listen, on the reservation, it's Papa Stew.
You know what? You. It is possible that you are eating cats and dogs.
Well, I tell you, I don't have a dog, three-legged dog named Lucky. I can tell you that. No, I don't eat pets.
Prove it.
Again, I'm not
exactly. That's the point I'm making. That's the point.
It feeds both points, and I appreciate the guy who said it because it feeds both points.
What it does,
that it's not happening, and you can't prove that I don't eat cats myself.
But what it does is we've put the Haitian migrants in a position where they're being viewed as guilty until proven innocent. They shouldn't have to prove that they're not doing it. The proof should be that they are, and nobody's proving it. They're being viewed as guilty until proven innocent. That's not how the system should work.
Well, welcome to America. I mean, it has changed that way in the last 20 years for sure. Everybody's guilty till proven innocent, 100%.
All right.
Trump, he was guilty till proven innocent.
And now he's doing it to others.
He had to win and win and win again.
And now the whole witch hunt, all of the drama he went through, he's decided, as bad as that was when you did it to me, I'm going to go and do it to some more innocent people now too.
Well, hey, listen, we don't say everything he does is right, do we? What else are we talking about? I don't want to talk about cats and dogs no more.
I'm just amazed at the answers you gave. We were also talking about the fact that Biden is selling off the wall.
You already know I think he's a traitor.
Traitor to what?
America.
Biden is a traitor to the country?
Yeah, he's selling off our tax money that we freaking worked our ass off to pay for it. That should be illegal. When it's going to get put back and we're going to have to buy the shit again and we're going to have to pay for it again, but this time at twice, if not triple the price.
Well, he thought the wall was unnecessary to begin with.
He's only got like 30 days left. Stay the fuck out of our money.
Hey. He's trolling Trump. I mean, I do believe he's trolling. I think that Trump never gave Biden a chance from day one, and Biden is probably returning a favor. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, it sounds like to me like this guy has never done a thing good for America, and he's continuing that trend.
The CHIPS Act, infrastructure bill, I think he's done some things good for America.
Man, I don't know about all that. CHIPS Act, I like the CHIPS Act because that deals with the vets.
Right.
I can appreciate that.
So he's done some good things.
I can appreciate.
He gave us Obama. Sure, you like that.
No, Obama gave us him. I mean, if you think for a second Obama didn't have his hand up his ass the entire time, that's crazy talk.
I don't think I think if Obama had his hands up his ass, he would have stepped out and never ran again for a second term.
Nah, it's controllable though, in my opinion.
What?
He's an old man. He's controllable.
Shit, but Trump is an old man too. He's controllable.
He's not controllable at all.
I think watching Trump clearly said after the Mandalay Bay shooting that sometime we need to take away guns first without giving people due process because it takes too long to get a gun in the hands of somebody mentally ill. And then the next damn day, he had changed his mind. Somebody got to his ass. Same thing about the bump stocks. Somebody got to him. He was talking about how bad electric cars were and how awful the lithium batteries and the range. Elon Musk comes through and suddenly he is a big hero with Tesla. He can be bought and controlled too.
His mind can be changed. Yeah, I guess that would be a little bit.
Right. So it ain't controlled now. It's mind change. All right. I got to move it on.
I mean, I told you I'll let you have it. I'm not trying to discredit you. I'm just trying to process what you said to me because you said to me that he didn't like electric cars. And then somebody who has all of the knowledge of electric cars talked to him and he changed his mind.
It wasn't that he had all the knowledge. It was that he had all the money to donate to his fucking campaign. A man donates $400 million. That's the final numbers. Elon Musk put $400 million in Trump's campaign. And by the way, Elon Musk has also stated that any Republican senator that tries to counteract or not vote for Trump's picks, like Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard and some of them unpopular ones, anybody that on the Republican side that does not want to vote for Trump's picks, he would personally take part in trying to primary that person. So Elon Musk has become a hero to Trump because he is doing everything he can to help Trump stay in power. It ain't got nothing to do with the fact that he knows about electric cars. He knows about money, and Trump loves money.
Yet again, he's donating his salary.
$400 million. What the fuck? Who gives a damn about a $400,000 a year presidential salary when you're selling Bibles at $60 a pop? Trump merchandise is making a killing. You got 70 plus million MAGA or Trump supporters, and at least 40 million of them own a fucking MAGA hat that's worth $11 to $15, $20 a piece. He don't need that little presidential money. He's doing all right.
Yeah, you're right. I do want to address Alter Ego. If you could tell him, you probably know a little more than I do. I know it has to do with Veterans Affairs and shit, but what's the PACT Act? Because Donald Trump did a PACT Act that had to do with the animals and making it a felony to mistreat animals. But Biden put in a PACT Act that has to do with the military, and he had a question. He had a question mark, like, what the hell is that? So,
all right. I can't respond to it. I got to move on, though, DJ.
You don't know the PACT Act?
I don't know. I know about Trump making it a felony to abuse animals.
You don't know about Biden's PACT Act? That you agreed that it was a good thing that he did.
Describe it.
Well, it's legislation that Biden put in that I believe it has to do with the Veterans Affairs, maybe? I didn't ask what it was. I said Biden passed the PACT Act, question mark. But you had a question mark. Okay, never mind. It was a waste of time.
All right. Thanks. See ya. Yes. All right, moving on. Thank you, DJ Julio. Real quick in the comment section. I don't know what I just hit there. Wow. Thank you guys that are tapping the screen. Get your boy likes on it. Will says it doesn't matter if they're illegal or illegal. Now, you talk about immigrants. It doesn't matter if they are illegal or legal. MAGA hates their accents and the fact that they are not the right skin color. Fuck around and find out. MAGA hates the accent. Damn, I've never heard that before. I do believe there's a lot of folks that are not favorable to brown immigrants, legal or illegal. I do believe that. I don't believe that. Now, the saying is, I'm okay with immigration, just come here legally. The Haitian migrants are here legally and nobody gives a fuck about it. I don't believe that. I don't buy that. I just think that it's not popular to come out and say, I don't like immigrants. But the Haitian migrants are here legally. And Trump has already made it clear he wants them gone. So it ain't just the same thing with the anchor baby thing. Okay, I don't want anchor babies in the future. If Trump said that would be one thing. He's talking about getting rid of some of the ones that are already here. They're talking about, potentially getting rid of people that were born here to maybe illegal or undocumented parents. That person is, by our law, a legal American citizen. So I'm getting rid of them too. So there are plenty of promises that the Trump administration has made that are going to involve a negative outcome for legal immigrants too. So when he says, well, I'm okay with immigration as long as you come here legally, that's not what you promised him. You've made promises to get rid of people that are here legally. So it doesn't wash with what he's actually saying. He's like you're talking out of two sides of your mouth. Tap the screen, get the boy likes on up to 40,000. I'm gonna have to end this one, man. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. Wow. What does that say here? It is a large, vast country. All of us don't speak the same accent. We separated by thousands of miles. That I don't know if it's the accent. I don't know if it's the accent either, Chris. But I do believe that the skin color makes a difference. I do believe that in some cases. There are some people. Isn't there rumors? Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there rumors that somebody said, why do people have to come here from shithole countries? That's going to be skin related. I mean, why can't they come from Norway? Why did they come here from, Guatemala? You're talking about groups of people at that point. Got nothing to do. The whole legal versus illegal wasn't even part of the conversation. It was just a matter of I want people from wealthier countries to come here. Why do people have to come here from shithole countries? Got nothing to do with legal versus illegal. You don't want people coming here legally from a shithole country either. So yeah, I don't buy that it's only illegal immigrants. And I think we'll find out. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am wrong. But I think we'll find out in the next 6 months or so if it's only targeting illegal immigrants. We'll see, because obviously the left is not rooting for Trump's success. So if Trump gets in there and starts fucking with legal immigrants, the left will let you know. Let's see how. Let's play it out. Give Trump a chance. We'll see. But if they start fucking with legal Americans, stopping and frisking people that have no legitimate reason to be stopped and frisked, demanding paperwork from people who were born in the country, the left will let you know. There will be people videotaping and things like that. You'll see if that's the case. Hopefully Trump is only going after people who are here illegally. We'll see. Give him his word. The color aspect of something is just a biomarker to distinguish different cultures and backgrounds. All right. I've been to many Trump rallies, and I've never seen anything but love and patriotism. There is no segregation at a Trump rally. I've been to a couple of Trump rallies as well. It's kind of hard to segregate a whole group of white people. They were very friendly to me. People were very friendly to me. I went to a Trump, but it is overwhelmingly white. You can put the 5 black people to the side. That would be pretty obvious. Of course, there's no segregation at a Trump rally. It ain't nobody to fucking segregate. That is hilarious, though. No segregation at a Trump rally. Yeah. It's like me going to the hood. Ain't no segregation on the south side of Chicago. Probably not. I get it. Look at the comments. Anybody can go to a Trump rally and be accepted, but you can't go to a Kamala rally and get the same love. Fact. That is flat out false. You let a bunch of drag queens show up at a Trump rally. Okay. Let a bunch of people show up at a Trump rally with Black Lives Matter outfits on. Anybody can go to a Trump rally and be accepted, but you can't go to a Kamala rally and get the same fact. Yeah, that's false. That is completely false. Both sides have people they don't like. I totally disagree. I'll give you an example. Isn't there video footage out there of a Trump supporter handing Joe Biden a MAGA hat to sign or something like that, and Biden puts the hat on? You think that would happen with Trump? You think Trump would put on a Biden or Kamala Harris Tim Walz hat? Think he would do that? I think he would even speak to one of them people. Some dude show up to his rally, and not only that, not only did Biden put the dude's hat on, Biden was fairly respectable to the guy, and that guy was treating him like an asshole. Now, that's where Biden looked kind of old and frail or demented, because I'm looking at the video. I don't know, some of you may have seen the video, but I'm looking at the video like, do you realize how bad this guy is talking about you? I don't even know if Biden realized it. That guy, to be able to speak to the president of the United States and still treat that guy like an asshole? I can say whatever the hell I want to say about Trump, Kamala Harris, Obama, you name it. Some things may be favorable, some things may be not. You've seen me on the video many times. There's no way in hell I'm going to get the chance to talk to a sitting president and disrespect the fuck out of him like that to his face. Even folks who support Trump should have been against that for how disrespectful that looked. If you've seen the video, you will know what I'm talking about. The guy was wearing a Trump hat and Biden was willing to talk to him even though he had the hat on. Biden put the hat on, continued talking to the guy. And that guy was just disrespecting the hell out of Biden. There's no place for that in my opinion. Will G says they get rid of everyone but the Ukrainians. Well, we don't take in a lot of Ukraine. Are you saying they're getting rid of all the immigrants but the Ukrainian immigrants? Poland is the one that's really absorbing a lot of Ukrainian immigrants. I don't know. Did we get rid of the Afghani? We got Afghanistan immigrants that helped us in the war. I don't know. Most Trump supporters think that a tariff is a zoo animal. Like a giraffe. Oh, that's funny. Eric says most Trump supporters think a tariff is a zoo animal. Oh, my God. They'll find out. You know what was it, Kevin Hart? You're going to learn today. Tariffs make foreign outsourcing for jobs unaffordable, bringing leverage via industry back to our economy. A really big spider, I like the name. He says that tariffs make foreign outsourcing for jobs unaffordable, bringing leverage via industry back to our economy. I think you're only looking on the bright side. There's a lot of negativity from tariffs. I mean, every economist in the book, even the Neil Cavutos and Charles Paynes on Fox News, they're not singing the praises of tariffs. So I think you're really looking on the bright side and really hoping things go well. And certainly in the beginning, the first thing you're going to encounter from tariffs is higher prices. Now, maybe it'll smooth out and work eventually. It ain't going to start out like that. I can tell you that. You're going to be paying a lot more for that particular product once they impose that tariff on you. I don't know if it's going to go as good as you're painting it. Trust me, I'm a bit nervous about it. Yeah, a lot of us are. I heard Canada took sales tax out for the year. All right. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, if Trump starts to impose tariffs on countries, fucking with the economies of those countries, they're going to push back. I mean, they got people that voted for them and people that are demanding that they show strength as well. You can't just let this dude from the United States run all over you. Otherwise, we ain't going to vote for you either. They got a female president down in Mexico, Claudia something her name is. And then, of course, they got Trudeau in Canada. Just like when Saddam Hussein knew we were looking for him, he didn't just surrender. I mean, shit, you got to be strong as a leader. You can't just let the United States run all over you. So there's going to be pushback. It ain't going to be as gravy and easy for us as Trump is making it sound. I don't believe it, at least. Tim doesn't even bother with my comments anymore. Says alter ego. Yeah, I do. Alter ego, you're a friend of the program always. I wonder, are they going to own up once Trump is in office and do nothing? No, you're going to blame the liberals for it. That's how politics works. When you succeed, you take credit. When you fail, you blame somebody else. And I think that happened even more under Trump. I mean, it happened under Biden, happened under Obama. People blame the other side, but under Trump, yeah, he ain't going to take credit for nothing that goes wrong. Continuing on with Faceless American. Good evening. Welcome to the program, Faceless. You got to take all that out. Good evening, Faceless.
How's it going, you handsome SOB?
Good to hear from you.
Right. What's up, man? What's up?
Not much. Huh?
There's a couple things that I've been listening to. Okay. And one is, it's amazing how few people actually know anything about the different calibers of weaponry. The gentleman that was...
That happens. Especially that